buy what you were saying.
Can you just...
I'm getting triggered because I don't think she actually knows what this is. She got a headline from a tweet called The Great March of Return, and she doesn't actually know anything about the event. It's actually incredibly triggering. If she knew anything about it, she could probably beat him up a little bit over the event, right? She would be able to say that over 200 Palestinians on the ground were shot and killed by IDF people that were on the fence. She could try to make the argument that the majority of the protesters were peaceful. IDF claimed that the march was incredibly violent because there were people throwing over incendiary balloons, throwing over Molotov cocktails, etc., etc., etc. When the UN did their investigation of the IDF shootings of the people on the ground, the UN concluded of the 200 plus deaths, only one of them were like militarily justified or represented a significant threat.
Britain wasn't bombing civilians.
When you lie, do you feel shame? Not actually undermine my case. In his there should be no deal in the first place.
Oh my God.
Existence of the state of Israel, period. So how can...
to interrupt you, I was told to silence. So I would ask you again, please shut up.
Oxford Union, Ben Shapiro, debate with students.
So Ben, your argument was predicated entirely on Hamas.
Wait, you should use underscores instead of bullet points for Obsidian? Why? Underscore, wait. That chatter's with you. Okay, well I'm his mom, so.
But thousands of...
Okay, one more time.
So Ben, your argument was predicated entirely on Hamas. But thousands of Palestinians, including hundreds of minors and children, are being held hostage by Israel without any charge, with well-documentation of abuses, including sexual abuse, which Israel's own human rights organizations have reported. Hamas did not exist for decades after Israel's creation, and they're not in the West Bank. So, if you're going to be arguing about Hamas, how can we ignore that over 200 Palestinians have been killed, including over 40 children, making it the deadliest year for Palestinians in the West Bank before October 7th. That does not even include the killings happening now, just in 2023. So what justification do you have for that if Israel intends to, quote unquote, go after Hamas, is killing many people, especially children, under the justification of Hamas? So what justification do you have of them targeting the West Bank, even if you were to buy anything you said, which honestly I'm questioning?
Sure. So the casualties that have been incurred in the West Bank are prior to October 7th. Largely, there have been many since October 7th because there have been many conflagrations between the IDF and the Palestinian Authority and Islamic Jihad members in the West Bank. There's significant violence over the course of the early part of this year. There's a breakaway group from the Palestinian Authority. It's called the Lions. The Lions were a small terrorist cell, the Lions Den. They were committing acts of terror in places ranging from Jerusalem to areas of the West Bank.
So the first claim is, so the question is, how do you excuse or explain the violence in the West Bank preceding October 7th? And his answer is a breakaway group from the Palestinian Authority called the Lions are responsible for many terrorist attacks from Jerusalem to the West Bank and through the West Bank. I don't know if that's true or not. I have to research that. Okay.
And the IDF was going in and making operational decisions to kill many terrorists in these areas. There are many areas in the West Bank that have been particularly infiltrated by terrorism that...
Or did he say Lions Den, not the Lions?
The city of Jenin would be probably the example of the place that has been most infiltrated by terror groups. It's unfortunate, but Hamas is not the only terror group in the region. Palestinian Islamic Jihad is an excellent example of another terrorist group that has wide presence in the West Bank, more so actually than Hamas.
Let's see. Islamic Jihad is a terrorist group with wide presence in the West Bank.
Palestinian Islamic Jihad rocket, obviously, that fell on that Gaza hospital, the entire world then tried to blame on Israel.
Okay, I'm not allowed to respond, right?
Oh wait, he did say the Lions. Wait, did he? Then why the f is everybody saying Lions Den? Maybe he was just wrong? Okay.
Our world then tried to blame on Israel.
Okay, I'm not allowed to respond, right?
Okay, so this was an interesting response. He said Lions but corrected himself. I remember the name from the Boner Box video. Oh, okay, whatever. So he doesn't actually directly deal with at all any type of violence from settlers or the IDF, I guess. So that's kind of his response. I guess questions I would have here would be, does Shapiro, do I call him Shapiro, Ben, or Ben Shapiro? Does Shapiro believe all violence in the West Bank against Palestinians? Hold on. Hello? Is it always while targeting a terror cell? Does Shapiro believe the IDF ever commits, would it be indiscriminate or unjustified violence against Palestinians in the West Bank? Does Shapiro believe in unjustified settler violence against Palestinians in the West Bank? I'm pretty sure I can fight on all three of these points. I'm just curious.
Right? Okay. So if your entire argument, once again, is predicated on terror groups, what response do you have about the Great March of Return, which is a very well-documented incident where peacefully...
The Great March of Return. Fuck, hold on. I gotta organize food between everybody. Jesus, I'm sorry, one sec. Jesus Christ.
Palestinian civilians just marched to their own land that they have a right to go and return to, but they were killed, shot at, and murdered in cold blood.
What year are we talking about? Which group are we talking about? I need more.
Oh, he doesn't know exactly about this incident. Oh, so this will be interesting hearing him respond to this. So what do you think about IDF enacted violence against the March of Return? I think is what she's talking about. Ben isn't familiar. I don't know if I need to write every single call and response, but...
More specificity.
I'm talking about the Great March of Return.
I know I'm asking for more specificity because I'm unaware of all the details of what you're speaking about.
So the Great March of Return, very specifically, I believe, refers to the 2018 protest here. This is probably what she's speaking about, I would say. There are multiple March of Returns. The most famous one? Oh, whenever I've heard the Great March of Return, usually it's in reference to this one here. You're telling me there are multiple Great Marches of Return? Is that possible? Okay, I don't think you're right, but maybe. There might have been multiple marches, but I'm pretty sure when we say the Great March of Return, I'm pretty sure we're talking about this one. But we'll see. Actually, should I create a separate article for this? No, I shouldn't. Hold on. Lion's Den, Control F, militant group, a Palestinian militant group operating in the West Bank. This group emerged in August of 2022. Jesus. Organization was founded by a 25-year-old Palestinian. Christ. Okay. And the group received undisclosed amounts of funds from Hamas. Interesting. All right.
Great March of Return.
For more specificity because I'm unaware of all the details of what you're speaking about.
So the Great March of Return is a well-documented instance where many Palestinians, after a tweet by a Palestinian, encouraged other Palestinians to go march peacefully back to their land.
Which land is theirs? What are we talking about?
They're talking about from marching from Gaza to Israel because that's their land. All of Israel. From the river to the sea.
Occupied Palestine.
Are you talking about in proper Israel? Where are we talking about? Like which areas?
We're talking about on the borders of Palestine, and we're also talking about their right to return.
The borders of the Gaza Strip, right? That's what she's talking about. Is she aware of that? It's the borders of the Gaza Strip. That's where they were marching from, right?
There is no right to return. If you're talking about in Palestine, if you're talking about the land that is inside the 67 borders, there is no right of return to Haifa. There's no right of return to Tel Aviv. There's no right of return to West Jerusalem.
So you have to remember...
We're getting super sidetracked. I don't know. Does she not know what she's talking about? Or I'm very confused by the summary of that. I'm super confused by her summary of the March of Return. But okay, but now we're talking about right of return, I guess.
That there...
I think Ben probably knows what's playing dumb to make her trip up. I don't know. He might not know. It's possible that he lives in America, right? I don't know if he knows about every single Palestinian event or every single Gaza event. I think the point is that she doesn't, or I don't know. Okay.
Tel Aviv, there's no right of return to West Jerusalem.
So you have to remember that there are many, many, many elders who are older than the state of Israel. You have to remember that Palestine is not a Muslim land. You are equating this to a religious conflict. It's not.
Do you think there are parts that are edited from this? Because this is like a totally random clip, or this is like a really random pivot, but okay.
When Palestine, before it was occupied, you had Jews, Christians, and Muslims peacefully coexisting. Palestine is not a Muslim homeland. It's a land that existed where many people that are alive to this day are older than the state of Israel.
So are you making the argument that any population of any time, all of their descendants now have a right to go back to the place that their great-great-great-great-great-grandfathers went?
Not great-great-great-grandfathers. We have grandmothers.
Okay, grandmothers, grandfathers. Is that the idea that you can walk across the lines of any sovereign state and simply claim the place that you said that you had, even though you never established property rights in, say, the Jordanian West Bank, or you abandoned this place in Haifa? So your claim is that right now people get to walk across the border of a sovereign nation and simply set up shop in Haifa? This is your claim?
Okay.
So if you're, okay,
Good one,
so
Chief.
even if you were to buy what you're saying, which is obviously not true, I encourage you to Google about the Great March of Return, which was a peaceful resistance against a wrongful occupation of Palestine. Even if you were to buy what you were
Can you just...
I'm getting triggered because I don't think she actually knows what this is. I feel like she Googled this or she got a headline from a tweet called The Great March of Return and she doesn't actually know anything about the event. It's actually incredibly triggering. I don't know. It feels like, because if she wanted to, if she knew anything about it, she could probably beat him up a little bit over the event, right? She would be able to say that over 200 Palestinians on the ground were shot and killed by IDF people that were on the fence. She could try to make the argument that the majority of the protesters were peaceful. She could probably try to make the argument that the UN investigated all of these deaths. When the UN investigated the shootings, so the IDF claimed that the march was incredibly violent because there were people throwing over incendiary balloons, throwing over Molotov cocktails, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When the UN did their investigation of the IDF shootings of the people on the ground, the UN concluded of the 200 plus deaths, only one of them were like militarily justified or represented a significant threat, right? But it sounds like she's not aware of any of this, so she can't make any actual appeal to the fact of the matter. She just said a thing, and I don't understand. Yeah. All of these students are at Oxford, right? This is like an Ivy League school. These should be very, very, very smart people. The fact that she doesn't specify that it was the one in 2018, 2019, yeah, I don't understand why she doesn't seem to have any information about this event. It's her event to bring up. But now she's like backed away from that argument because she doesn't know anything about this at all, I think. Yeah, I don't understand at all why she would do this, but okay.
Against a wrongful occupation of Palestine. Even if you were to buy what you were...
Can you just define wrongful occupation? Which part of Palestine is occupied?
You're not answering my question.
I mean, I'd like you to answer mine.
Terror groups. I gave you an example of peaceful resistance.
Yes.
I'll give you an example where people were wrongfully shot at, including children, and you still can't answer about why that's justified.
So, if you, again,
I keep talking about Hamas and terror groups, and you gave examples of other terror groups, even though I gave you examples of civilians who marched and were shot at. But even now, a few days ago, you had Palestinian people living in Israel proper, which is occupied Palestine, who are being shot at by farmers in their gardens and in their farms. And those people are being able to get away with shooting them with total impunity. So why is it that
that's not true. Many of those people have been arrested.
Question. Do you think the IDF shoots at civilians with total impunity? Answer. For Ben says, that's not true. Many of them have been arrested. My questions. Do you believe the IDF or settlers are generally held accountable when it comes to committing violence against Palestinians? Question. Are the debate topics confirmed? No, I imagine it's probably going to be over like Biden, Trump, and then current events or whatever. I'm just watching this. This Oxford talk includes his support for Biden or his support for Trump over Biden. So I'm just going through, watching, asking a question.
They're all currently sitting in Israeli jail.
the settler that just shot at a...
Oh, he says that's true. Many of them. They're all currently sitting in Israeli jail.
A Palestinian
have been
farmer
arrested.
was not arrested. I encourage you to look into this.
I did look into this morning, and can I please get one answer before you leave, because this is an interesting conversation.
What was the name of the, I want to say there were 5 or 6 Israelis that killed Palestinians. I'm pretty sure for no reason. I think they were jailed. And I think was it Sharon that pardoned all of them? I don't remember this as a particular massacre. I'm just curious. Does anybody remember? Actually, wait, it's probably my notes somewhere. Let's see, Control F. Oh, it was the Kafr Qasim massacre. Did this occur in 51 or 52? Took place in the Israeli Arab village of Kafr Qasim during the war, where Israeli border police illegally killed Arab civilians returning from work during a curfew that they were unaware of. 48 people were killed. The border policemen who were involved in the shooting were trialed and jailed for 7 to 17 years. All sentences were later reduced, with some of the convicted receiving presidential pardons. Every convicted person was eventually released by November 1959. I wonder if he'd say that's like old, so he doesn't care about it. What about the pardons given to the perpetrators? I butcher this. Perpetrators? That's not correct. Look into why they were pardoned. Control F, pardoned. The Court of Appeal reduced Malinki's sentence to 14 years and Dahan's to 10. The Chief of Staff further reduced them to 10 and 8. Then the Israeli President Yitzhak Ben-Zvi pardoned many and reduced some sentences to 5 years each. Finally, the Committee for the Release of Prisoners ordered the remission of 1/3 of the prison sentences. Thank you. What is this?
Fried rice with chicken, beef and broccoli, chili crisp, and coop mayo sesame seeds.
Am I supposed to
fried shishito peppers?
mix the chili stuff in, or?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Love you. Reduced sentences to 5 years each. Finally, the Committee for the Release of Prisoners ordered the remission of 1/3 of the prisoners, resulting in all the convicted persons being out of prison by November of 1959. Soon after his release, Malinki was promoted and put in charge of security for the top-secret Negev Nuclear Research Center. In 1960, Dahan was placed in charge of Arab affairs by the city of Ramla. Is Ramla in the West Bank? Where is Ramla? No, I think that's in Israel proper, right? Israel proper, if you believe in Israel proper. Ramla is right here. Okay. Many reduced sentences to 5 years each. Finally, okay.
Which part of Israel is occupied Palestine?
All of it.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. There we go. So what you're calling for is the obliteration of the state of Israel, and all of this is just a cover for that. I appreciate your time.
Wait, that was it?
And now, like,
Thank you. Okay, wait, all right.
How do you reconcile your conservative political views with the religious values of compassion and your own Jewish faith? And your stance on the Israeli-Palestine war?
I don't see why it's uncompassionate to call for the overthrow of Hamas, a terrorist group in the Gaza Strip, which has been oppressing its people and stealing billions of dollars from its own people. Ismail Haniyeh is living in a 5-star hotel in Qatar, while his people are living in absolute misery because of a war that he initiated by killing 1,500 people inside Israel proper and then taking 233 hostages. I don't see why that's non-compassionate. It seems to me that compassion also requires that you obliterate terrorist threats to your own population.
Wait, how old are these students? Wait, what am I watching?
remember you turn ahead?
Hello, Ben. It's good to see you. I've been watching you since 2015. You started my conservative journey, and here we are. I saw, unfortunately, you had to bring some pretty gruesome photos, and I have to say I hope those photos aren't real, and I have my doubts because recently you posted an AI-generated image of a charred infant corpse.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. What are we doing here, guys?
That is a lie. That is untrue. It was not an AI photo. It was not an AI photo. It was distributed by the Israeli government and the Prime Minister of Israel. It was verified by the United States government. That fake community note that said that it was an AI-generated photo was in fact taken down by Twitter because it was a fake community note. That is unfortunately not an AI-generated photo. I wish it were. It was a baby obliterated beyond recognition because it had been burned to death.
So is it the word of the IDF in Israel versus the word of
No, actually, it's the photo. It's the actual camera footage taken by GoPro cameras by Hamas terrorists as they invaded Israel proper. I don't have to take Israel's word for it. A lot of this stuff was live streamed.
Wait, are these photos from Hamas? I thought these were photos from the journalists and the investigators that went in afterwards, but.
So, to what extent, as you're posting to social media, are you willing to make sure the information you're posting is accurate, to not exchange the truth for giving aid to Israel?
I'm certainly doing my damn best. And there's a lot of information flowing around. I'm doing my best. On that one, for sure, 100%. It is a lie that is an AI-generated photo. That is not true in any way, shape, or form.
It's not 100% the case that it's not AI generated. That's not true. It's just that there's no evidence that it was AI generated. To be more careful, that's what you should say. Hold on one second.
Later, Gator.
Love you, be careful.
Easy.
And it shows how it does show how we live in a very dangerous era where anybody can, I mean, this is happening on a routine basis. You're seeing, for example, some of the pictures, they're horrible pictures coming out from Gaza, and a huge number of those are, of course, absolutely real. You're also seeing people who are repurposing pictures that are taken from Syria and then saying those are happening in Gaza. So, yeah, unfortunately, there is a lot of information that's floating around that is hard to kind of lock down and verify. That picture is 100% real, unfortunately.
I sympathize with you because as AI gets more advanced, it becomes increasingly hard to discern information. So I know you bear a lot of
I mean, this is going to be a serious problem as time goes on. Seriously, like the flow of information is going to be more and more uncertain because of that. That I agree with on a general level.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Let's go to member in the back.
If Israel is justified in killing civilians because of the acts of terror committed by Hamas, why isn't Hamas justified in doing what it did? Because Israel is keeping 13,000 children. It has tried them in military courts. Since the establishment of Israel, 55,000 Palestinian homes have been bulldozed. So why isn't Hamas justified in doing what it did if we use your logic?
So I'm going to answer your question, then I'm going to ask you a question if you don't mind. Is that all right? So
Why are these pro-Palestine arguments so dog shit?
my answer is that Israel would not be justified in killing Palestinian civilians because of the actions of terrorists. Israel would be justified in attempting to kill terrorists, and civilian casualties are a cost of war. That is just a reality of life. During World War II, there were 70,000 Brits who died during the Blitz bombing, and there were 2 million Germans who died, civilians who died during World War II. And I don't see a lot of monuments in Britain because of the 2 million civilians who died in Germany. The costs of war are brutal, they're terrible, they're horrifying. There's a vast difference in moral scope between deliberately going into a civilian area and murdering everyone you can find and trying to kill a terrorist who is deliberately hiding beneath a civilian.
Do you think Israel is justified in killing civilians using your logic? Ben's answer: there is a difference between going in and deliberately killing civilians versus versus attacking infrastructure and killing civilians through collateral damage. My questions. What about, we've got the Lavon affair, we've got that Kafir Casa massacre, we've got the, I think the Samu incident, we've got these, what were the name of the two villages, the refugee camps in Lebanon, like the two, what were they called? We didn't technically go over the Lebanese war, but Sabra and Chintilla. I'm trying to think of anything else. There's probably more. I'm sure we could find more, but I don't think Ben said infrastructure. Oh, Dare Yassine? Was that one? Wait. I don't remember. I mean, I think that he'd concede that sometimes Israeli citizens orchestrated massacres. Would he? Because in none of his videos where he talks about this, I have never, ever seen him concede that Israel has committed massacres. I have never heard that in my entire life. Not a single time from Ben Shapiro. Maybe he does, but if he does, I've never seen it. And if you have a link of him conceding any of that, I would be very interested in seeing it. I've never seen him do that. All of his takes regarding it are ultra pro-Zionist with almost no representation of the other side. But maybe he does somewhere and I just haven't seen it. So he seems to very deliberately fish to see what his opponent knows before committing to a position. Yes, that does seem to point, yeah. He would not call it a massacre. He would call it war and self-defense. That's fine, but then he would lose the debate on the facts because he wouldn't know. The Lavon affair was not war and self-defense. This was the Mossad literally attempting to orchestrate terror attacks on civilians in Egypt. The Deir Yassin massacre was literally... this is given for one of the reasons why Arabs started to flee after Israel declared independence. And the Irgun and the Lehi are literally known as like the more extremist. Like, I'm pretty sure the Haganah like literally chastised these groups for massacring people in villages. This Kafir Qasim massacre was, I'm pretty sure it was literally soldiers. This might have even been the Haganah. I don't remember. Or no, it was the IDF by this point. I'm sorry. Was literally, I think, shooting, like sniping people walking back to their village after a curfew had been called that they weren't even aware of, right? The Samu incident was, I'm trying to remember which one. This was a landmine killed like 3 soldiers, and Israel went in, and I think they wiped out like 1 or 2 villages. And I think there are even like soldiers stating that like, this shit was fucked. Hold on. How did my shit get fucked here? The Sabra and Shatila massacre? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm responding to that chatter. I'm right on this. Or not that I'm right on this, but if Ben tried to respond in that manner to at least the 5 incidents that I've listed, and I'm sure I could find more if I go and search for him, he would get absolutely annihilated on the facts. It would not be good. I don't even know if he would though. But okay. Boom, 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 boom. I have a feeling he wouldn't be familiar with many of these if he wasn't familiar with the Great March of Return. That'd be my guess. But who knows? Maybe he is.
Civilian area, hiding their rockets in civilian areas, starving their own people. There is a vast difference. Okay, so now I get to ask my question, if you don't mind. So my question is, do you believe that there is a moral difference between Hamas going into, for example, Kfar Aza and murdering entire families, and Israel attempting to target terrorists and accidentally hitting civilians?
Israel is effectively doing the same because Gaza is the most densely populated region in the world. There are 50.
First of all, somebody emailed me this. That's not true. No part of Gaza, not Gaza City proper and not Gaza, is the most densely populated thing in the world. That's just completely and totally fake. I don't know where people... Wait, what? Hold on. I don't know where people get this idea from. Oh, good one. Hold on. I don't know where people get this idea from or where this meme started. If somebody wants to tell me, I'd be interested, but... I think somebody linked me. Even like the most densely populated part of Gaza is, I think it's like the 80th in the world. I don't know why people keep spreading this around. Gaza is definitely densely populated, but is nowhere near the most densely populated area. The Gaza Strip would not even be on the list of highest populated densities for cities proper. The Gaza Strip is outside of the top 80. It's not included there. Gaza City does have a better argument, but it's still not even close. It's ranked as number 80 on that list. Keep in mind that Gaza City is about 17 square miles. Manila, the Philippines, is roughly the same size and is more than 3 times as densely populated. So whoever says that's not true.
$15,000 people per square mile.
So does Hamas get immunity because they're there? So Hamas gets immunity. So
Israel has killed 3,500 children in the past 3 weeks. That's more.
Okay, so we're just...
children. That's more children than have died in conflicts around the world in
For the
each of
past
the last
4
4
years.
years.
So just to be clear-
I've heard these memes. It's literally people reading like meme posts. She's getting her information from memes online. I know all the arguments. They come from memes. What the
Your logic is that if you're a terrorist group located in a densely populated community and you hide behind civilians, you're now immune.
Where are the children meant to go?
So you're immune. Okay. That's
Where
a
are they
violation
meant
of
to
the
go?
Geneva Conventions, but okay. You're now immune. Your logic is that if you're a Hamas terrorist...
Sorry, since 2005, 23 out of every 24 conflict deaths have been Palestinian. I don't see any moral equivalency there. It's clearly
She can't even like engage with any of the question.
unjust what the IDF has been doing to the Palestinians, because there's a vast disparity between the number of Palestinians being killed and the number of Israelis.
I mean, I would
The
certainly hope that
disparity
Israel is
huge.
killing more Hamas
This isn't
members.
a conflict. This isn't a conflict. This is one-sided ethnic
Okay, so,
cleansing.
again, I'm just asking you, if based on the numbers, more Germans died than Brits in World War II, did that mean that the British were
Oh,
wrong
no,
in
that's
World War
more.
II? Because they did. Many more Germans died than Brits. Based on the numbers, does that mean that Britain was wrong in World War II?
Britain wasn't bombing civilians. There's a clear
You
difference.
should talk to the people in Dresden, but you can't because they're
There's
dead.
a clear difference. I agree that war is horrible, but this is not a just war. What Israel is doing is not a just war.
She lives in memes. She lives and breathes in memes, like from start to finish. That's it. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to say to a person like this.
There's a difference between
Wait,
fighting
hold
the
on.
Nazis.
So it is not a
There's
just
difference
war.
between fighting the Nazis.
It is not a just war when you fight a war against people who murder 1,500 of your civilians and take 233 of them, at last count, captive into tunnels. It is not a just war to obliterate them. Please name a just war.
Israel's been killing civilians for the past 75 years, and there was no headlines about it, and nobody said that the Palestinians were
Israel does
justified
not
in
purposefully kill
retaliating.
Civilians. Palestinian terrorists do.
Israel has not
If
purposefully
Israel
killed
put down its
civilians. Are
guns
you willing
tomorrow,
to
there would
stand
be
by that statement?
If Israel puts
See, this is a point where, like, if she knew anything, God, I'm getting more. Never mind, I can't say that. That was almost Islamophobic. Is that what they call it? Like, there are so many. These are 5 that I remembered off the top of my head. There are so many massacres that you could go back to. There is so much foreign violence that the Mossad has committed you could go back to. Where the Mossad assassinates people that they think are, like, part of Black September, but oops, they weren't. There are so many things you could point to, but I don't think she's going to name a single one. She can't just name one thing that where Israel indiscriminately killed civilians or killed civilians when they didn't need to. Like, just name one thing. Like, just one of these. And I'm curious how Ben Shapiro would respond.
down its guns tomorrow, there would be a second Holocaust. If the Palestinians put down their guns tomorrow, there would be a Palestinian state. That is the reality. And let me ask
There
you
would
this.
not be a Palestinian settlement.
This is probably true. If I believe that if Palestinians got all their violent shit under control and chilled, I feel like in 5 or so years, the Israeli position of keeping the Gaza Strip under embargo, the Israeli position of constant settler expansion in the West Bank, it would be internationally untenable. I think it would be really hard to hold that. Well, I don't know after October 7th now, but like at some point, like, you got to stop giving free W's to Israel. Every time you send another rocket into Israel, it's just like another dub, right? It's like, oh, well, look, that's why we got to keep it all locked up. These motherfuckers are crazy, right? It's just such an easy argument for Israel to be acting in self-defense constantly by pressuring these regions.
I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you.
Israel has been built in
I'm going to ask you. I'm just going to ask you the last question. The same question I asked her. Which part of Palestine is occupied?
The entirety of Palestine. But
There we go.
I'm not.
Thank you.
And he did another one. And all of these people that come up here and do this argument, and then he gets to do this free expose, like, oh, you want a one-state solution. That's all you want, right?
Once
for
again,
the destruction of Jews.
I
I'm
appreciate
calling-
I appreciate you expressing your full genocidal intent
Why-
for the Jewish people living between the river.
Why
and
is it genocidal to call for a state that is not apartheid? You can have a state where all citizens have equal rights, Jews and Muslims.
I'm sure that's going to go
That's
amazingly
not genocidal.
under the same people who are governing the Gaza Strip, where currently zero.
Ben shouldn't have even bit the bullet on that one. He should have said, well, you can argue that in Israel. I need to reread that one subreddit post, not that anymore, because there was a guy arguing that even in Israel proper, Arabs don't have the same rights. I'm curious how true that is, though, right? Because there are Islamist Arabs, there are Islamist Arab parties in the Knesset that are represented politically. They have like 10 seats, I think. That one Islamist coalition, Islamists, not Muslims, not Arabs, not brown people, but Islamists. So it's such a weird thing to call that apartheid. It's such a weird thing to call that apartheid. I don't know. That's just pretty bizarre to me. But he didn't even need to bite the bullet that hard. Maybe you can claim apartheid in the occupied states, in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, but
Jews live.
The time, can we move on?
oh yeah, is it Ram? Was that what they were called? Was that the name of the coalition of parties? I thought it was. I think it was this. I think it's the United Arab List. Oh, but it's called. No, wait, hold on. It was part of the Joint List. The Joint List, I think, was the. Are all of, I should be more careful here. I don't know if all of these parties were explicitly Islamist. They might not all have been explicitly Islamist, but but they are all Arab, I'm pretty sure. Non-Jews are not allowed to join the army in Israel. For Christians, it's optional. Is that true? I don't know if that's true or not. It might be, but. There's Ram and there's Hiroshima. I don't even know if those are real words, actually. Hold on. I'm not going to read that. Destiny, the Lavon affair shouldn't be on this list. The attacks were staged after the areas had closed down. There were no civilian deaths or injuries. There might not have been, but I'm pretty sure the explicit targeting was to kill civilians. Wait, show me where it says everything was closed down. The Mossad can't do a little bit of trolling? Well, listen, they can do trolling, but...
To the next question, please.
Guapa.
You have recently been discussing a lot about the history of the occupation of Palestine. I will call it that. I know you will oppose that, but I will call it that. The occupation of Palestine.
The whole thing, right? Just to be clear?
The entirety of Palestine.
Thank you.
You may accuse me of genocide if you wish. That is not my position.
Sure, and I will, but go ahead.
Anyway, so the point about the occupation of Palestine, you have released multiple videos. You have essentially made yourself the cheerleader of Israel in a lot of sort of Western media spaces. So I watched some of your videos about the conflict, and I found a number of inaccuracies. First of all, you describe in 1920, you refer to Jordan as part of Palestine historically. That has never been the case. There has never been a state of Jordan.
British Mandate Palestine, yes.
That is still not the case. Jordan has never been part or considered part of Palestine. The only
Wait, what? I'm sorry, I have to reread this. Or re-listen to this. Hold on, I'm so sorry.
Videos about the conflict, and I found a number of inaccuracies. First of all, you describe in 1920, you refer to Jordan as part of Palestine historically. That has never been the case. There has never been a state of Jordan.
British Mandate Palestine, yes.
That is still not the case. Jordan has never been part or considered part of Palestine. The only time that Jordan has been considered adjacent to Palestine is part of sort of biblical mythology where Transjordan was a reason.
That's why.
Did he miss the entire time period between 1948 and 1967 when Transjordan literally occupied all of the West Bank? Or is that not included for some reason? Or...
Wildly inaccurate. The
That
British,
is
the British
true.
mandate had a mandate over
Please
all
let
of
me
Palestine,
continue.
and then they separated off Transjordan and handed it to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan.
You will get your chance to reply.
Hold on. Wait, I don't think that's true either, though. Hold on. That's the second time I've heard that. I might be misunderstanding something. UN partition plan for Palestine. I've heard this claim now twice, that the West Bank was going to be handed over to Jordan or Transjordan. Is that true? Why do I keep hearing this? Control F Jordan. In 1937, following a 6-month-long Arab general strike and armed insurrection, which aimed to pursue national independence and security and to secure the country from foreign control, the British established the Peel Commission. The commission concluded that the mandate had become unworkable and recommended partition into an Arab state linked to Transjordan. Okay, but this was after 1937. I don't think that the primary partition plan, I don't think so. The United States government declined to recognize the all-Palestine government in Gaza by explaining that it had accepted the UN mediator's proposal. The mediator had recommended that Palestine, as defined in the original mandate, including Transjordan, might form a union. Bernardo noted, it would seem as though in existing circumstances, most of the Palestinian Arabs would be quite content to be incorporated in Transjordan. I don't believe in I think you're misunderstanding what they're saying. Oh, I feel like I've heard this claim multiple times that the West Bank, the UN partition plan was to give the West Bank to Transjordan or to Jordan, but I don't believe that was ever the case. It was going to be its own Palestinian state, along with Gaza, and along with this area up here. Is this the Golan Heights? I'm not sure what this area here, or if it's not quite the Golan Heights. Actually, the Golan Heights might be this area up here, around and to the north of whatever is this region called Safad? Let me see if I'm misunderstanding what they're saying.
That's wildly inaccurate. The British
true.
mandate had a mandate over
Please
all
let
of
me
Palestine,
continue.
and then they separated off Transjordan and handed it to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan.
You will get your chance to reply. Let me finish. Now, my
Yeah, that
second
doesn't make any sense.
point.
Wow, Klappa.
My second point. The second point that you have phrased constantly and consistently, and it's quite a popular Zionist talking point, is the fact that the Arabs have rejected peace every time it was offered to them. Now, I would like, of course, there's been multiple times where peace has been offered, so let's discuss some of them. The Peel Commission. The Peel Commission entailed expelling multiple Arab families and multiple Arab communities, largely agrarian, from the land in order to create a Jewish state under a colonial authority. Now, I understand, of course, you are...
Just to be clear, the Peel Commission, I don't believe, was saying you had to do anything. I'm pretty sure the issue was there was a whole bunch of fucking problems in this area, and the Peel Commission was called to analyze what was going on, the history of that region over the past 40 years, and then to try to make suggestions about maybe what could be workable going forward. But Peel Commission text, the text of the Peel Commission report, I could just read the conclusion for you, but I don't recall this making strong conclusions about you have to do this. It was more just like, we need to do something about education because the education is driving a wedge between the people. We need to do something about this or whatever. But it was just like an analysis of the region, like what are possible steps forward. But I don't think the Peel Commission was saying that like this is what we're going to do to kick people off or blah blah blah. The advantages to the Arab. Oh, and then it goes through the advantages and disadvantages of a partition to the Arabs and the Jewish people. It is surely worth some sacrifice. Good one, web page. It is surely worth some sacrifice on both sides of the quarrel. If the quarrel which the mandate started could be ended with its termination, it is not natural. It is not a natural or old-standing feud. The Arabs throughout their history have not only been free from anti-Jewish sentiment, good one, but have also shown that the spirit of the compromise is deeply rooted in their life. Considering what the possibility of finding a refuge in Palestine means to many thousands of suffering Jews, is the loss occasioned by partition, great as it would be, more than Arab generosity can bear. Also, if you couldn't tell, the Peel Commission, they do a lot of glazing on the Arabs when they write this in terms of how they're talking. In this, as in so much else connected with Palestine, it is not only the people of that country who have to be considered. The Jewish problem is not the least of the many problems which are disturbing international relations at this critical time and obstructing the path to peace and prosperity. If the Arabs at some sacrifice could help to solve that problem, they would earn the gratitude of not of the Jews alone, but of all the Western world. There was a time when Arab statesmen were willing to concede little Palestine to the Jews, provided that the rest of the Arab Asia were free. That condition was not fulfilled then, but it is on the eve of fulfillment now. In less than 3 years' time, all the wide Arab area outside of Palestine between the Mediterranean and the Indian Ocean will be independent, and if partition is adopted, the greater part of Palestine will be independent too. As to the British people, they are bound to honor to their utmost of the power obligations they undertook and the exigencies of war towards the Arabs and the Jews. When those obligations were incorporated into the mandate, they did not fully realize the difficulties of the task it laid on them. They have tried to overcome them, not always with success. The difficulties have steadily become greater till now they seem almost insuperable. Partition offers a possibility of finding a way through them, a possibility of obtaining a final solution of the problem. This was in 37, okay, they didn't mean it that way, all right? Of the problem which does justice to the rights and aspirations of both the Arabs and the Jews and discharges the obligations undertaken towards them 20 years ago to the fullest extent that it is practicable in the circumstances of the present time. Sorry, just going over this a little bit, but...
families and multiple Arab communities, largely agrarian, from the land in order to create a Jewish state under a colonial authority. Now, I understand, of course, you are a Zionist, so you believe that's desirable. But for the Palestinian farmers, I can imagine they would not have enjoyed that. Number two, you mentioned that that after 1948, the Arabs had the chance to negotiate and make peace with Israel. Apart from the fact that in 1956, Israel invaded the Sinai in Egypt, unprovoked, purely due to the fact that President Nasser nationalized the Suez Canal. Then you claim that the 1967 war was
Okay, we're missing a lot of context there, but
a war of extermination. But if you will read any trusted and respected historian over the 1967 war, and perhaps you may even decide to read some of the books of Moshe Dayan about the actual conflict, where he describes that Israel actually provoked the conflict and there was no chance of the extermination of Israel. Then you claim that the 1973 war was a war of the destruction of Israel once again, which it was not. It was actually the reclaiming of the Sinai and the Golan Heights, which Israel has illegally occupied. So, you have lied multiple times. I can continue if you would wish.
is this the Palestinian version of history?
But I would like to ask you the question, when you lie, do you feel shame?
What a good job, dude. Big memes. Imagine you've got Benny Shapiro here, and you have the chance to ask him questions and actually like iron out his positions on this, and you just fucking morally grandstand the whole time.
Okay, so in order for me to feel shame, I would have to be lying as opposed to you just being wrong about all of these things, which you are. So let me start from the very beginning of what you said.
Hold on, wait a sec. The mandate for Palestine in 1918 did include what became mandatory Palestine and Transjordan in 1920. Let me check this out originally. That might be true. That might be true, but I don't remember. I'm trying to think, in these maps, was Transjordan considered east and west of the Jordan, or is that only considered west of the Jordan? Under the terms of the 1915, 1916 Sykes-Picot Agreement, Transjordan was intended to become part of an Arab state or confederation. Was to become part of an Arab state or confederation or states. British forces retreated. Spring of 1980, Transjordan after the first second attacks on the territory, indicating their political ideas about its future. Was not mentioned during the 1920. Transjordan is east of the river? No, I'm pretty sure Transjordan is considered Jordan and the West Bank. I thought that's why it was called Transjordan. No, am I wrong about that? Or was Transjordan just the name of the old Jordanian kingdom or whatever? I thought it was called Transjordan when it was both trans because it was west and east of the Jordan River. Wait, trans means the opposite side, so the east? Destiny, you're correct. Transjordan equals across the Jordan River. Fuck, now I'm not sure. It seems to me that it couldn't be the case that they were originally allocated there, because when Israel declared independence in 48, the Jordanian armies invaded and captured the West Bank. So how could it have been included as part of the country of Jordan if they had to invade and capture it? Right? It was called Transjordan before it took over the West Bank. Huh, maybe it was? Transjordan versus Jordan. Across or beyond. So Transjordan refers to the other side of the Jordan River. The equivalent term for the west side is Cisjordan. Is that really true? I'm sorry, that's not funny. Transjordan was renamed the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. Okay, maybe Transjordan. Maybe the name actually has nothing to do with both sides of the river. Maybe they just... Yeah, maybe I just invented that. I just assumed it because of the time period of like when everything happened. Oh, so like this is saying here, for instance, wait, what was this quote? just had a fucking quote that I saw, whatever. But this is saying it was called Transjordan before anything of the West. Okay, so there was probably, was it a separate British mandate for Transjordan and then a separate British mandate for Palestine? Because weren't there separate British, I didn't do the history of the other surrounding countries, but wasn't there a separate British mandate for like Syria and Iraq as well? Am I wrong on that? Or let me check. British mandate for Syria? Oh, and Lebanon as well, right? No, it was all the same mandate. The mandate system was supposed to differ from colonialism, with the governing country intended to act as a trustee until the Habitants were considered eligible for self-government. At this point, the mandate would terminate and a sovereign state would be born. Transjordan was added to the mandate following the Cairo Conference of March 1921, at which it was agreed that Abdullah bin Hussein would administer the territory under the auspices of the Palestine Mandate. Okay, so it was a different division or a different part, I think. Okay. Don't need this. Don't need this. Okay, sorry. All right, just curious. That's not super relevant.
You start from the very beginning of what you said. Let's try to go through the calendar. British Mandate Palestine was ruled by the British. They carved off Transjordan in 1920, and Transjordan was made into Transjordan with the Hashemite Kingdom, which, by the way, is not domestic to the actual area of Jordan. So if you're talking about a colonial
You need to clarify whether we're talking about... Oh, good one.
outpost, Jordan would be it, since the Hashemite Kingdom has nothing to do with the actual Palestinian Arabs who are living in Transjordan. Talking about the Peel Commission. If the idea is that there would have to be a separation of populations in order to effectuate a two-state solution, which you deny, then I was right. Of course there was a deal on the table. The Jews accepted it. The Arabs rejected it. So you did not actually undermine my case. There should be no deal in the first place.
Oh my God, he's doing the Haas strategy. What the fuck?
The Arabs rejected it, so you did not actually undermine my case. There should be no deal in the first place.
In his diary states...
Hold on. I listened to your whole bullshit history for like 5 minutes here, so at least let me respond to it.
Oh.
Your entire claim is that the Arabs did not reject peace, and then in your own disquisition, you admitted that the Arabs rejected the Peel Commission plan, which was a separation between the Jews and the Arabs, which gave an extraordinary amount of land to the Arabs. The Arabs then rejected the peace partition plan proposed by the United Nations in 1947. They then proceeded to reject the Oslo Accords in 93. After that, they rejected the Wye River Accords in 98. They rejected Ehud Barak's very generous offer in 2000. They rejected Olmert's very generous offer in 2008. Every single peace deal that has been proposed by Israel or anyone else has been rejected by the Arabs for a very simple reason, which was the very first question I asked you. You do not accept that there should be a Jewish state anywhere in this region. So as long as that's the case, there's literally nothing to argue about. You cannot simultaneously maintain the position there should not be a Jewish state anywhere in the region and then tell me that I'm wrong when I say that the Arabs will not accept a two-state solution. You yourself say that there should not be a two-state solution.
Speaking to that, Mike.
So the first point that I'll firstly address the last point that you made about the Palestine and whether there should be a Jewish state. The point you are making there is you're suggesting that the Arabs will not accept a Jewish state. Well, the reason that the Arabs would not accept the Jewish state is multifaceted.
It's complex.
Let me finish. So the reason...
Why is he doing that, bro? Dude, the sad thing about all these fucking lefties is they all go online and they parrot like Hassan's points, like debate is bad, don't debate, don't be a debate pervert, don't be a debate pedophile. But then when these guys get in front of a mic, they literally do. I can't even do it because of my limiter. They literally do like the most like debate perverted shit. What the fuck?
That it's multifaceted is due to a variety of dynamics. The Zionist movement arrived as a settler colonial project, and it is described as that. You can read the books of Jablonski. You can read Zionist literature from the early 20th century. It states that it was a colonial project. Now let's address the lies that you mentioned. Let's address the refutation that you made. In 1937, the Peel Commission, if you read the diaries of David Ben-Gurion, he explicitly states that the partition... Sorry, thank you. That the partition was...
No, that was intentional, my dude.
A temporary move to ensure the conquest of the full land. In 1948...
Ben-Gurion. Partition plan, temporary move to ensure conquest of whole land. I'm curious where that quote comes from. Like many people, Ben-Gurion lived a few years too long. His old age was sad, degrading, superfluous. Jesus. In the documentary, Ben-Gurion says, if I could choose between peace and all the territories that we conquered last year, I would prefer peace. He made exceptions for Jerusalem and the Golan Heights. Not surprisingly, this provided the theme for most of the press commentary about the film. Okay, this is like a Zionist suck film. Okay, Control F Conquest. Give me that fucking quote. It was Ben-Gurion who in 1948 first set Israel on the course of annexing strategically vital territory occupied in a defensive war. The places that Israel occupied beyond its partition allotment, and which Ben-Gurion, as we saw, would list with such pride, constituted almost a quarter of the country. Only under immense external pressure did he withdraw from a single conquest, the northeastern corner of the Sinai, in 1949, west of the Jordan. He never backed down or out. He may have refrained from taking even more territory that, at least in the estimate of his generals, Israeli forces could have occupied in late 48 and 49, but territory once occupied never slipped from his grip. Is he talking about this, the 37 Ben-Gurion letter? It's been subject to significant debate by scholars as a result of scribbled out text that may or may not provide written... Oh, scribbled out text. Why would he do this? Was this a fucking troll? Was this an actual fucking troll? Why would you even leave that in your fucking notebook? This is the Pape misquote earlier. Yeah, now I'm remembering reading this. Does the establishment of a Jewish state and only part of Palestine advance or retard the conversion of this country into a Jewish country? My assumption, which is why I am a fervent proponent of a state, even though it is not linked to partition, is that a Jewish state on only part of the land is not the end but the beginning. This is because this increase in possession is of consequence not only of itself, but because through it we increase our strength, and every increase in strength helps the possession of the land as a whole. The establishment of a state, even if only on a portion of the land, is the maximal reinforcement of our strength at the present time and a powerful boost to our historical endeavors to liberate the entire country. So this is the quote given. I think, like you said, Pape, I think, gives this quote. But I think some of the troll thing about this, I did a little bit of reading on this, but the troll thing about this letter is that some of it is based on words that are like scratched out. And if you don't take into account those words, the meaning changes, I think, quite a bit, which is so troll. Benny Morris, in his 88, The Birth of the Palestinian Refugee Problem, quoted from Ben-Gurion's letter in the paragraph discussing the Negev. We must expel Arabs and take their place. Having taken the quote from the English version of Shabtai Tevet's 1985 Ben-Gurion and the Palestinian the Palestinian Arabs. Criticism from Ephraim Karsh later discussed the scribbled out text immediately before the wording, which, if included, would reverse the meaning of the quote. Morris later explained, the problem was that in the original handwritten copy of the letter deposited in the IDF archive, which I consulted after my quote was criticized, there were several words crossed out in the middle of the relevant sentence, rendering what remained as, we must expel the Arabs. However, Ben-Gurion rarely made corrections to anything he had written, and the passage was not consonant with the spirit of the paragraph in which it was embedded. It was suggested that the crossing out was done by some other hand later, and that the sentence, when the words that were crossed out were restored, was meant by Ben-Gurion to say, and said exactly the opposite, we must not expel the Arabs. As to the general tenor of the critique, Morris later wrote that the focus by my critics on this quotation was, in any event, nothing more than red herring, as elsewhere in unassailable statements, Ben-Gurion at this time repeatedly endorsed the idea of transferring or expelling Arabs or the Arabs out of the area of the Jewish state to be, either voluntarily or by compulsion. There were good reasons for Ben-Gurion's endorsement of transfer. The British Peel Commission had proposed it. The Arabs rebelling in Palestine were bent on uprooting the Zionist enterprise, and the Jews of Europe, under threat of destruction, were in dire need of a safe haven, and Palestine could not serve as one so long as the Arabs were attacking the Yishuv, and as a result, the British were curtailing Jewish access to the country. It's actually some AIDS shit. Jesus. Anyway, sorry, where were we? Okay.
That had already been an
So it's not even true. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that like there are crucial meanings of this letter that are like scribbled out, and people don't know if it was him that scribbled it out or not, or if it was congruent with other things he was saying or not. Although I think I'd be curious. I need to send an email to Schleim and Morris. I've seen other statements from Ben-Gurion that suggest that he wanted Arabs to stay and work with the Jewish people. And I've also seen other quotes given that he basically wanted to expel all the Arabs from the land. I don't know overall like what the consensus and what his position was. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I could see it being either way, to be honest.
a communal civil war in Palestine, which had seen Jewish defense forces versus the Arab forces. There was already a conflict that preceded 1948. To claim that the Arabs simply rejected the UN partition plan is once again ahistorical. You then make...
They literally rejected it. How could it be ahistorical if they literally rejected it?
If there was a war beforehand,
and once again, you just reject fundamentally the existence of the state of Israel, period. So how can...
I attempted to interrupt you, I was told to silence. So I would ask you again, please shut up. My point now, I would like to continue. I would like to continue, and you then mention the what was the peace plan you mentioned after?
Okay, which one should we do? Should we do the?
We finished 1948. What after?
Okay, so there was the 2000 peace plan from Ehud Barak. There was the 2008 peace plan from Ehud Olmert. There was the pullout of Israel from Gaza Strip in 2005, handing it over to Hamas.
Okay, let's get the next person up now.
All right. Thank you very much.
Wait, that's okay.
One final note, there can be no two-state solution when literally you will not accept the possibility of a two-state solution. That is the end of the story. There is no further discussion.
Let's do the ex-president on the front bench.
Thank you, Ben. I'm not going to ask any questions about Israel-Palestine, but I wanted to ask something about what you touched on in your opening remarks. You said that the reason you feel called to speak out, one of the reasons you feel called to
Okay, this video is supposed to be why he would never support Biden over Trump, okay? We're over halfway through and it's all Israel-Palestine.
Speak out about what's going on in Gaza at the moment is that you think that it is a question about the West standing up for its values and asserting its identity and knowing what it is. I put
Samson the Slaughter thinks so too for everybody.
You that perhaps the reason that is so controversial, and you saw 100,000 people marching in London on Saturday before that, etc., is that the West, or many countries in the West, no longer have a sort of common sense of what they are as nation states and therefore what they should stand for. Do you think that's true?
Yes.
What do you think the consequences of that are?
I mean, I think the consequence of that is dissolution of the West. I mean, if the West is not going to be muscular in defense.
Destiny, you watched a Q&A and then expected the entire Q&A to be about the one topic you saw at the timestamp? The name of the video is Ben Shapiro Talks About Israel versus Hamas and Why He Would Never Support Biden Over Trump. Why he would oh, never mind. I just realized I read this wrong. When I'm reading this as Ben Shapiro talks about an event and why, because of that event, he would never support Biden over Trump. But now I'm reading this differently and I see he talks about Israel versus Hamas and he talks about why he would never support Biden over Trump. I thought the sentence was like, he talks about Israel versus Hamas and why, because of this, he would never support Biden over Trump. That's how I read this. Never mind. I see, never mind. That was my bad. Just bad reading, I guess.
Longer have a sort of common sense of what they are as nation states and therefore what they should stand for. Do you think that's true?
Yes.
What do you think the consequences of that are?
I mean, I think the consequence of that is dissolution of the West. I mean, if the West is not going to be muscular in defense of whatever it believes its core values to be, then of course it's going to be overtaken by alternative sets of values.
Is it the replacement of the West if it just adopts a new value code?
Yes. I mean, if the West is to mean anything other than a location, it's going to have to mean a set of values. And those values traditionally in Britain have meant things like classical liberalism.
Eliezer Tauber, the chairman of Middle East Studies on Bar Ilan, wrote a book about the Deir Yassin massacre and goes into details how the massacre was a myth. Wow, thanks, buddy.
They've meant things like freedom of religious worship. These are all aspects of the now Anglo-American system that have been adopted across the pond as well. And when those values fall away, what you end up with is a morally relativistic state that cannot stand up for its own values and has no reason to continue.
So do you think that collapse of a communal moral code is now inevitable?
Not at all. I don't. In fact, I think that there is going to be quite a backlash to the insane self-blinding that has taken place by the West. This belief that everybody is at root thinking the same sorts of thing and engaging in the same sort of incentive structure. I do not think that is the case. I don't think the West always believed that. This is not to say the West is perfect, that the West hasn't made enormous and horrifying mistakes. The West certainly has. But the West value system is certainly better than the other value systems that have been made available to the planet over the course of the last couple of centuries.
I'm sure you'd agree with me in that the foundation of a lot of the moral code of the West is sort of Judeo-Christian. Do you think that mass sexualization post the Second World War, at least in the United Kingdom, it's been much more delayed in the United States?
Yes.
Mass sexualization? Is that what he said? Wait.
That have been made available to the planet over the course of the last couple of centuries.
I'm sure you'd agree with me in that the foundation of a lot of the moral code of the West is sort of Judeo-Christian. Do you...
Wait, before that, hold on. Heel mic break.
You like bullying short people? Huh? You like bullying short people?
Okay, bullying short people. Uh-oh, what are we doing here? How much, 6 of you guys?
No, we can run one. We can run one. Take all one.
Why you running away, bro?
Come on, man. Come on.
You don't need to run away, my boy.
Is this bullying short people? Is this like a short gang or what's happening here?
We're not gonna flex it in. It's gonna be flex it in. What you got?
You's a bitch, bro.
I'm a bitch. What is
You's
it?
a bitch. Why you
1,
walking
2,
away?
3, 4, 5, 6. Take the ones. Oh, you better get away.
Who you scared?
Oh yeah. Look at you guys. Look at
Come on.
Hey. Hey, shit happens. Hey. You record? My man.
Got the content, baby.
My man. Woo! Not too bad.
What the fuck? Okay.
I think that mass secularization post the Second World War, at least in the United Kingdom, it's been much more delayed in the United States.
Yes, I mean, I think that the religious Judeo-Christian values that have been, brought into the secular world by a diverse society, and then sort of secularized in terms of the way they've been embedded in our laws. Yes, I mean, I think a lot of the Enlightenment values that originally had their roots in Judeo-Christian culture, I think those are beginning to wear away. I think that we're suffering from what one author called the cut flower syndrome, that if the idea is that Judeo-Christian values have to undergird a system of Western liberalism where there has to be a common agreement in terms of the things that we hold dear and the kind of good that we hold as the highest good in order for there to be room to stick and move within that good and toleration of minorities and the marginalized within that same framework. It has to be an agreed upon framework. When you cut that off from its fundamental religious roots, it's very difficult for the flowers to survive. They can survive for a little while in water, but eventually they wither.
So if you don't think, can I have one more question very quickly?
Fine.
Thank you. If you don't think then that the loss of a common moral code is inevitable, do you therefore think you'll see massive, rapid desecularization of the West?
I think that you will see that. I do think that you're going to see people seeking community. I think we've seen extraordinary isolation of people, atomization of people. This is particularly true during COVID. And I think people are seeking a sense of community. I think, unfortunately, many people are seeking community in political movements, which is quite dangerous. Atomized individuals tend to band together in revolutionary movements. But I think the substitute for that would be to re-engage with a lot of the local and important institutions that used to provide the foundation for a happy life for people. And those traditionally were family, church, synagogue, mosque. I mean, those would be the things that people engage in. Thank you.
Let's go to the next. Sorry, the member to the right. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Thank you very much for being here. I wanted to ask you a question about the American political climate. So your analysis of the previous 2 American presidential elections and your forecast for the upcoming 2024 election is that the candidate against whom the election is a referendum will lose. Do you think this is an inevitable consequence of America's 2-party political system or just a recent trend caused by the nature of candidates offered to the American election?
Wait, let me...
No, I think it's probably an inevitable consequence of a two-party trend. I think it's very difficult to think of a presidential election that was a positive referendum on the candidate. Probably the last one in America was 2008, where people positively voted for Barack Obama because they thought of him as a transformative figure. But that's a rarity. The usual nature of politics is sort of negative in orientation. And so I don't think there's anything unnatural about that. My only call has been that both parties should nominate somebody who's sane. First party to rationality in the United States is likely to win. Unfortunately, we have on the one hand a geriatric doctrine, and on the other hand, we have Donald Trump. So.
Question about the political climate in the United States. Ben Shapiro's answer: on one hand, we have a, what did he say, like a geriatric old guy. I don't care what the exact quote is. On the other hand, we have Donald Trump. Dog turd?
It's a doctrine, and on the other hand, the States is likely to win. Unfortunately, should nominate somebody who's sane. First party.
We should nominate somebody who's sane. My questions. If we were truly looking to nominate someone based on their sanity, do we feel like Donald Trump's behavior is truly a better reflection of sanity than Joseph Biden's?
Rationality in the United States is likely to win. Unfortunately, we have on the one hand a geriatric doctrine, and on the other hand, we have Donald Trump. So the American people chooses its own candidates, and as H.L. Mencken said, democracy is the theory that you ought to get what you deserve. The American people are about to get what they deserve, good and hard. So that is what it is.
So on that note, do you think that the states would benefit from a stronger third party like we have in the UK or in Canada, for example?
I don't think that the system lends itself to it very well because, again, it's not a parliamentary democracy. I mean, the idea in the United States is very much built around this sort of binary two-party system. It's very difficult for a third party to make serious inroads. What we have seen over the past few years, it's a lot easier to take over one of the major parties. Right? Trump effectively took over the Republican Party from the inside and changed it around himself. And you can see something similar that could easily happen inside the Democratic Party. Actually, Bernie Sanders has been quite successful at moving the Democratic Party significantly further to the left than it was even 10 or 15 years ago.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And let's go to the member in the right hand here. Yeah.
Hi, Ben. Yeah, I've also watched you from 2015, but then I grew up.
I grew up, he says, as he's 19 years old in college.
I became a lefty, but yeah. So I wanted to ask, so you're one of the more common sense Republicans out there because you're not a complete Trump fanatic, right? I think you support Ron DeSantis, is that right?
In the current primaries, yeah, I'd vote for DeSantis in a primary.
Very good. So I was thinking, why do you not, let's say Trump wins, why do you not come out and support Biden? Because you clearly don't like Biden, right? And everyone has their own political views. But Trump seems to me to be a fundamentally serious threat to American democracy, which Biden simply isn't. So Trump's called for the suspension of the Constitution, and he's facilitated an insurrection.
Those are two very good points. Trump's call for a suspension of the Constitution and Trump's incitement of January 6th.
Biden's done neither of those things. He's been fairly milquetoast president. So why don't you endorse Biden?
So I disagree with some of the premises of the question. So number one, as far as Donald Trump being a serious danger to democracy, I think in the best of his imaginations, he probably would be in many ways. But
in Trump's imagination, he's a serious threat to democracy. We watched part of this answer, but since democracy survived, he must not have been a serious threat.
This constitutional system is extremely durable. January 6th was not, in fact, a serious threat to American democracy. It was a serious threat to American order. It was not a serious threat to American democracy. There was no point in time on January 6th where there was a real possibility that a military coup had been launched and Donald Trump would retain the presidency.
There is no point in time on January 6th that a military coup had been launched and that Donald Trump would retain the presidency. That is an incredibly strong statement that he has absolutely no way of defending, but
after January 6th, it just was not going to happen. So the institutions of the United States and the legal institutions remain quite strong, and we're able to hem in whatever Donald Trump's peculiar desires are on the one hand. On the other hand, there are different types of threats to democracy. So Joe Biden, for example, has used the power of the executive branch in new and exorbitant ways.
Joe Biden has used the power of the executive branch in new and absorbent. What is the root word of that? Absorbent. It's not absorbent? Is it this? Exorbitant. That's what he's saying. Do you actually think January 6th was an insurrection? By definition, of course it was. Yeah. Most of the people there might not have known that they were participating, but based on the convictions and everything of the people so far, yeah, of course. Exorbitant, not absorbent. Sorry, okay. And exorbitant ways.
Obviously, for example, when you tried to use OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety Administration, he tried to use that to cram down, for example,
when he tried to use OSHA, is it going to pause here and come back, or are we missing this whole answer? Trump didn't call for the suspension of the Constitution. He said He said it had theoretically already been violated. You are wrong and you are lying. Donald Trump, suspension, Constitution, truth, what is it called? Like Truth Circle? What the fuck is his stupid fucking social media called? Truth Social? Trump said, with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception in working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democratic Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Donald Trump is saying that because the 2020 election was stolen, which he has no evidence for, he can suspend the Constitution. That's a very clear reading of what Trump is saying. If you read it in any other way, you should decolonize yourself. You're so bad faith. You are not even worth having a conversation with. You shouldn't even be talking about politics. You should be finding new and interesting things to insert into your fucking
the nutty stuff, the actual policies of Donald Trump, the stuff that he actually did as president, not the crazy tweets and the nutty stuff that he says all the time, but in what he did in terms of the economy, what he did in terms of foreign policy. I'm obviously much more in alignment with
What was the Joe Biden OSHA thing? I'm curious what that is. I'm sure Ben Shapiro talks about it later, but
his actual political positions than I am with Joe Biden. As far as the threat to democracy, as I say, one is more subtle and one is more obvious. And in some cases, the more obvious is actually the easier to reject.
Well, I don't know. This position seems quite strange to me because you've essentially conceded that Trump does.
Okay. My questions. Does someone need to always have a clear chance at thwarting democracy to be considered a threat to democracy? Does a failure to be anti-democratic mean that you are, by definition, democratic? That's a very stupid take by him, I would say. January 6th was not a threat to American democracy. During January 6th, is it inconceivable that a few more people could have caused substantial damage to the actual members of government? Were protesters at one point not a single hallway away from lawmakers? What would have happened if they were caught? Did Trump's constant election denialism not fuel this riot? Question. Joe Biden has used the power of the executive branch in new and exorbitant ways. Did Donald Trump not flex incredible executive power? What about in regards to restricting immigration, enacting tariffs? Do tariffs normally come from the executive, or are they normally voted on by Congress? I don't remember. Enacting tariffs, doing border policy, doing executive actions, etc. We could do more research on that. Ben would probably argue that Trump's executive actions have all been done before. Okay.
Does not believe in American democracy. He doesn't believe in American institutions. But
I think he believes in Trump and pretty much nothing else, yes. I think he believes in Donald Trump and not much else.
Yeah, precisely. But, okay, sure, he might not be able to create the...
Ben also says, I think Donald Trump only cares about Donald Trump. Isn't Donald Trump's obsession with himself a danger to all of us? He's supposed to be representing the American people instead of his own ego? Question mark.
The Trump dictatorship, but is it really healthy for a democracy to have a leader in charge who does not believe in any of America's institutions? You know, say what you like about Biden, but he is proudly American. He believes in the institutions of America. Surely you should support him over this egomaniac.
Well, I mean, I don't think he actually believes in some of the institutions. I mean, he's attacked the Supreme Court would be a good example.
He's saying Joe Biden doesn't believe in the Supreme Court? Is that what he's saying? What a wild statement to
attack the Supreme Court with alacrity in the aftermath of the overruling of Roe versus Wade, for example.
He's attacked the Supreme Court with alacrity. The Democrats literally, I'm not going to forget this my entire life. The Democrats literally lost a Supreme Court pick to the Republicans. Oh, you know what? I think my question should just go in response underneath his. That would make the most sense. That'd be the best way to organize this, I think. Fuck.
His party has talked about packing the Supreme Court. When it comes to the use of
his party has talked about packing the Supreme Court. I don't believe Biden has ever supported that. Has he? Biden has never supported packing the Supreme Court. I'd have to fact check that. I don't believe he has.
He's not packing it though.
His party has talked about it, right? You're right, he has not. And Donald Trump talked about it.
But if Biden's party has talked about it, then it doesn't matter if you elect Biden or I guess he's just arguing between Biden and Trump. But
a lot of stuff, and that hasn't materialized either. So again, would I prefer that all of these candidates go away? Absolutely. I prefer all of these candidates go away. This is why I say first party to sanity wins.
Okay, I mean, that's fair enough. I think that position is very untenable, but I'll leave it there.
Thank you. I think we'll take one final question, one final person before we wrap up. Let's go to the member in the front here.
Wait, before this one, hold on, give me 1 second.
Hi Ben, so good to have you. I wanted to go back to the current conflict, and I was wondering, given that obviously there's one side which does have, a respect for human rights, as you pointed out, they try to go about their response. Israel tries to go about their response in in the best way possible, at least I would argue. And you've got another side that has a fundamentally different alignment of values that...
Oh, I like this, thank you. Biden has, so hold on, let's see this further. Biden has explicitly refused to pack the Supreme Court, has explicitly refused to consider packing the Supreme Court. Boom.
Does not have regard for the civilian lives.
Brittany going full schizo about you on Tom's stream. Stop, I don't care. Dude, Tom farms more mentally ill women farming me than any other fucking streamer, okay? I don't need this in my life right now. Thank you. Jesus Christ. I'm not even gonna watch this, okay? Fuck you.
And in purely practical terms, that makes it quite difficult to wage war.
I'm late to the stream, but we talked about Zerka getting his ass beat yet. Yes, we have.
In a civilized way, as far as you can say that. So in terms of perhaps drawing a potential, I don't want to call it path to victory, but a path to defeating Hamas, but reconciling that with our values and, killing as few civilians as we can. And I understand that you know Benjamin Netanyahu and so on, so could you draw a possible sort of realistic path to victory that might reconcile?
So I'm not privy to the sort of military planning of the Israeli administration. I'm not in their security councils. What I will say is that any position that Israel takes that does not end with Hamas off the board is going to be extraordinarily dangerous for the future of the state of Israel. So that is the end goal. Everybody understands that to be the end goal. It's dangerous not only because Hamas has proved itself to be significantly more dangerous than everybody assessed Hamas to be, but also because that leads to a perception of Israeli military weakness and inability to protect its own citizens that leads other groups, including in the West Bank and also in the northern border by Hezbollah, to get involved. And that's incredibly, incredibly dangerous. So is there a best of all possible world? Yeah, the best of all possible world is for Hamas to surrender. I think everybody of good heart should agree at this point. If you don't agree that Hamas should surrender, I doubt why. I have some serious questions about why. That again, very difficult for me to find any reason other than Jew hatred why you wouldn't want Hamas to, even for the sake of Palestinians, why you wouldn't want Hamas to go. That would be the most obvious bill. Is Hamas going to do that? Probably not, which means that it's in everybody's interest, or should be in everybody's interest, to depose Hamas as quickly and easily as possible. They made it incredibly difficult. Obviously, the tunnel system, they have some 300 miles of tunnel underneath the ground. They've stolen billions of dollars in order to pursue that. They built up resources under there. It's going to be a slog. It's going to take a lot longer than people think it's going to take. And it's going to cost, by the end of this, it's going to cost a lot of Israeli soldiers' lives, because they're going to have to attempt to go into serious urban terrain and wage this war. So I wish I saw a good way out. I don't see a good way out. I think people, there are a lot of happy solutions that we tend to think about in the West, but very few of them tend to materialize in war.
I suppose such are the realities of war. And I just want to say on a personal note, as a citizen of the Czech Republic, I think we stand very firmly with Israel.
I appreciate that.
We are doing so, and I hope everything is resolved as quickly as possible, and through your personal connection as well.
What's the difference between, I don't know anything about the breakup of Czechoslovakia, or like how many with the territory before and after? I have no idea. So I don't know. We'll see.
Wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to the Election Standing Committee.
Hello. So you have expressed pro-life sentiments before. How can you, so when women from low-income backgrounds, often in places where abortions are illegal, I've lived in a country where abortion's been illegal, they go and people from low-income backgrounds are the ones who have to do unsafe abortions at home, who have to go into in backstreet vendors' places. How can you justify this as being safe for women to have just safety of women's health and women's rights?
Wait, hold on 1 sec. Wait. Is it all gonna be... I got baited so hard by this fucking video. I just spent like an hour and a half watching this fucking video, and there's like one Biden question. That's right, we have the other shit, I guess.
To have just safety of women's health and women's rights.
The argument in favor of legislation against abortion is to protect the life of the unborn. The ideal would be that people don't violate the law in order to pursue an abortion. If you violate the law in pursuit of an abortion, you're obviously violating the law. I mean, I'm not sure what to say about that, other than I'm not interested in women dying in back alley abortions because I'm not in favor of abortions.
But women are going to have, people have abortions anyway. Abortions happen whether...
Not in the same numbers, I mean.
Well, if it's just high income women do have the opportunity to travel abroad and have abortions, whereas it's particularly low income women who suffer the brunt of having to do at-home abortion, that it's unsafe and it results in people dying. Do you really think that it's safe for women's health to allow, whereas we can allow it in a safe facility and it can prevent women dying, it can prevent people dying in unsafe abortion places?
So, I mean, we're starting from completely different premises and we're trying to reconcile the premises. So you're starting from the premise that the top priority is that a woman who violates the law to terminate her pregnancy, her safety is the number one priority. My number one priority is protecting the baby that's growing inside of her. So my answer to rich women are absconding in order to terminate their unborn child, that when women are absconding to do that, if they're rich, my preference would be that it hit everybody equally, meaning I don't want anybody getting an abortion, rich or poor. So as far as the second follow-on effect of that, obviously any law is going to have horrible downsides. That's true of literally every law. But the question is, when you're making a law with regard to, say, abortion, what are you attempting to prohibit, and how many lives are you preserving in the process of doing that?
Abortion's going to happen anyway.
I mean, I understand that argument, but the fact is that when you make it significantly more difficult to get an abortion, fewer people get abortions. That's the entire purpose of having a law against abortion. That's why people presumably who are pro-choice don't want there to be laws against abortion.
Yeah, mostly don't want people to have laws against abortion lots of the time so that people can have them in a safe environment.
But have them at all is sort of the first part of the sentence, right?
Yes.
Thank you. We don't be very long next, so just before we wrap up, I wanted to ask two final questions. One of them is, this didn't come up yet in the interview, but you've been quite vocal in your criticisms of Black Lives Matter movement, stating that all lives matter. But throughout this interview, you have not equally defended Palestinian lives, the civilian Palestinian lives, in the way that you have Israeli civilian lives. So when it comes to Israel-Palestine, do all lives not matter then?
So first off, it's a wild mischaracterization of the position that I've obviously expressed to you. You literally asked me, do I value Palestinian lives the same way I value Jewish lives? And I said, yes, I don't believe that the act of evil in targeting a Jewish child is the same as a military attempting to target a terrorist who's hiding behind a baby. So don't mistake the position, please. When it comes to the all lives matter position, of course I believe that all lives matter. My fundamental disagreement with Black Lives Matter is I don't agree with their premise. Their premise is that black people in the United States are being uniquely targeted by law enforcement for murder, and I don't think that the statistics prove that. I don't think the evidence is there for that. So I don't agree with the fundamental premise of the Black Lives Matter movement. Not that I don't believe that Black lives don't matter. Of course Black lives matter. They matter exactly the same amount as every other human life. But again, there's I think, a willful attempt to misinterpret my position on some of these issues.
Okay, thank you. And one question that we ask all of our guests who come here, if you could leave our members with one thing to think about, what would it be?
I mean, I think that tonight, the thing that I would leave with is the same thing that I came in with, which is that there are certain values that are worth protecting. There are certain values that are worth protecting. And one of those values is the value of understanding. The value of understanding clear moral differentiation, which obviously has been completely obscured. I think tonight we've seen some evidence of people obscuring some clear moral differentiation between the targeted burning of babies in their homes in front of their mothers by shoving them in an oven, and people attempting to kill terrorists who are themselves putting civilians in harm's way in violation of the rules of war and the Geneva Conventions. And if you're one of the people who's making this sort of moral equivalence, I ask for you to check your own heart. And if you're one of the people who's watching people make this moral equivalence and being convinced by the supposed complexity of the issue, I ask for you to check your brain. Thank you.
Literally the podcast I was on last night.
Man, I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
Jesus. The OSHA thing Benny was talking about, I assume, was the vaccine with business and forcing workers to get it or fired. Also, the executive order comment is crazy because Biden's done far less than past presidents in a while. Oh, that might be it. OSHA to enforce vaccination policies. Well, here's something I'm curious about. Now, I know that half of Chad's brain is going to shut off when I even suggest this because of how politicized the vaccine thing is. But would it really be that crazy to use OSHA for something like vaccines? Like, I'm curious, here's a question. Are there any OSHA policies that have to do with, say, going to work with open sores? Or are there any OSHA policies that have to do with going to work while sick or coughing with the flu? Or does OSHA only refer strictly to workplace hazards that are of non, self-biological origins? I wonder. Because if it is, if it was the case that it's reasonable to an OSHA standard is somebody having a tuberculosis vaccine to work in construction or something, I don't know, or a tetanus booster to work in construction, it wouldn't be that unreasonable to say there's a certain vaccine schedule. I mean, I don't know why I'm asking you guys. I could just look at this actually. OSHA vaccine policies. These are all for disinfecting the workplace and everything. It might not have anything to do with actual vaccine stuff or whatever. Maybe not.
The House race to replace the speaker is on. Again, the recriminations have only begun at this point because the fact of the matter is this was a stupid fight that achieves nothing. It's all about incentive structures. As I suggested yesterday on the show.
Basically what I'm looking for here is, I can't believe this, that some people, I think, didn't Adam and Sitch do this where they blamed Democrats for somehow perpetuating this fight or whatever, and that the Democrats should have worked with the Republicans? It's cringe shit. I'm curious if Benny Boy here is going to hold the Democrats responsible, but...
It is not about Kevin McCarthy being a bad Speaker of the House. The truth is it wasn't even about Paul Ryan being a bad Speaker of the House. You make a better case that it was Boehner being a bad Speaker of the House, but the reality is that in all these situations, these folks have been ousted largely because of divided government and then unrealistic expectations from other members of the political caucus who either have unrealistic expectations or who are fibbing to their own crowd. See, for politicians, the incentive structure is always to tell your own people the things they want to hear. And what your people want to hear is if they vote for you, they will get the sun, the moon, and the stars. If they vote for you, you will be able to give them everything they possibly have wanted. And then when that doesn't materialize, you have a couple of choices. One is, you can be honest with them. You say, listen, we did the best that we could. We got the most that we can. The problem there is that you're going to be outflanked by someone else who's going to come along and promise them the sun, the moon, and the stars. So you can either rely on the intelligence of your voting base, which you could do, and I think the most honest and best politicians do that. They say, listen, we were shooting for 100%, and instead we got 80%. We got 60%. That's all we could get, because that's the reality of life. But it does put you in the political danger of being outflanked by someone who's going to promise you everything in the world. And the way that you were able to keep members in line, to keep them from doing this sort of stuff originally, was that the party structures were pretty significant, meaning that they could deny you money. That if you cross the party could punish you in some way. Well, as the parties have become significantly less important in American political life, and by that I mean the parties exert virtually no pull over their members anymore. That's certainly true in the Republican Party. It's less true in the Democratic Party, where AOC will follow Nancy Pelosi, not because she loves Nancy Pelosi, but because Nancy Pelosi has the power to punish her, or did until very recently. Well, in the Republican Party, there's no power to punish. In fact, it's precisely the other way around. In order for Speaker McCarthy to become Speaker of the House, he had to make promises to a very small coterie of members of his own caucus, like the vast minority of his own caucus, that a single person could initiate a vote to take down the Speaker. He had to do that in order to get the speakership. Well, that put him in an inherently weak position. So here's the problem. Now when people say, oh, well,
what? This rule sounds so stupid. Why the fuck did they do this? I'm sorry, I just have to read real quick. One person can call vote on House. I need to find I need to trace the origination of this fucking rule. This just sounds so unimaginably fucking stupid. Does anybody have a good article? Does anybody have a good article on where this actually fucking came from? I want to read the rationale. It was only for this House session. Yeah, I know, but even for this session, I want to. Matt Gaetz, McCarthy rule, one person call. What do you call it? Is it a vote of confidence, or what would you even call it? House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy struck a deal last week that, after days of a stalemate and his bid to be speaker, swayed even his staunchest critics. State of play. McCarthy agreed to lower the number of members needed to call for a motion to vacate the speaker's chair down to 1. McCarthy previously proposed that 5 members could call for a motion to vacate. What was the motion to vacate requirement before? What is it normally? Motion to vacate requirement, House. It's just, I feel like it's mainly boring, but sometimes I worry if we should cover more like more of the drama that goes on in like congressional politics. Just the idea that the majority party is like playing musical chairs with trying to seat a speaker. It's just the funniest fucking thing in the world to me. It's just like so outlandishly, ridiculously fucking stupid. Like how the fuck does this, how do you not do this and not feel like you are literally a clown car of people just like rolling through Congress every day? Like it's unbelievable to me. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the first time this has happened in the entire history of the Congress that Republicans just can't rule. It's just so stupid and goofy. More importantly, goofy. Now you're saying the Republicans can't do a little bit of trolling? True. That's a good question, actually. What legislation have Republicans brought to the House floor? I'm pretty sure. Wasn't the last legislative session where it was Pelosi was Speaker of the House under Trump, wasn't it a record-breaking amount of legislation that had been voted on or passed in the House, I think? I might be making that up. I'll fact check that. Fact check. I think it's literally the gas stove shit. What was it to protect? I'm sorry. This is just so goofy. Bro, what are you guys doing?
Replace McCarthy with someone better. Fine. Let's say that you get Jim Jordan. I love Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan's great. Representative from Ohio. He's on the House Oversight Committee. He's a real bulldog. I know him personally. He's great. Or let's say you get Steve Scalise. Steve's terrific. I really like Steve a lot. Let's say you get either one of those guys as Speaker of the House. If the same rules apply to them that apply to Kevin McCarthy, it will not matter if they are quote unquote better than Kevin McCarthy. Because in the end, let's say it comes down to another continuing resolution. And you are one of these members of Congress who is not beholden to your party, but who does make hay by fibbing to your constituents that the sun, the moon, and the stars are possible. Well, you can just do the same thing to Jim Jordan. You call him a rhino. You say, wait, you weren't willing to shut down the government over spending? That's because you are insufficiently conservative. You must be ousted. So the only way this gets better, ironically, is for Matt Gaetz to have all of his power taken away by the new Republican majority speaker. That's the only way this works. The only way this gets better is Jim Jordan, in making the deal to become speaker, basically reneges on all the things that Kevin McCarthy promised, including the ability of people to challenge his speakership with one vote. Because otherwise, this is just going to keep happening. All it takes...
True. This is a month ago. Wait, hold on. I haven't even followed it closely. Did it happen twice? Where initially was it initially that McCarthy was removed and then somebody else was brought in and then they were removed? Or what would I even look this up? Like history of Speaker, House of Representative, or was it just, has this only been one time so far? Oh, they had a temporary speaker. Okay, that was it. Okay, gotcha. Christ. This is what pictures look like on the Pixel 1, guys. Oof. Camera's gotten way better. Hold on, I'm sorry. The first Congress, the second Congress, the third Congress. Oh, this guy must have been a really good speaker. He was on the fourth and fifth Congress. The sixth, wow, look at this guy. Nathaniel McCone, okay? 7th, 8th, and 9th. Oh, look at this guy, 10th and 11th. This guy, 12th and 13th. Okay, wow. Like, pretty impressive that, oh, okay, he's shared here. Okay, pretty impressive. Damn, look at how many this guy's gotten. Oh my goodness. Wow, look at this. Some of these people are speakers through multiple Congresses. Like, isn't that amazing? And then you come down to here and it's like, wait, what's happening here? Why is it list one? Why is it one Congress, but it's two different? What's happening here, guys? How do they do it? I'm sorry, Jesus. I'm sorry. Has there never been a Congress where like somebody died and then like a non-party person or party? Has this seriously never happened in U.S. history? Like. The fuck is going on here with this shit? Yeah, I don't know. Jesus. Never. It took them 3 weeks to vote on McCarthy's president. Yeah. Okay.
is 1. All it takes is like 5 because the House majority for the Republicans is so damn slim. By the way, one of the reasons that it's so unbelievably slim as opposed to what it was supposed to be after the last election cycle, which was, you know, a 30-seat House majority for the Republicans. The reason for that is because Donald Trump backed a bunch of really bad candidates in purple districts and they lost.
Ooh. Whoa. Wow. That's a big admission from Benny Boy there. We are going to have an article about this one. That's a good concession. What a horrible concession to make. The president that I'm supporting in the next election was so unpopular that he ruined down ballot votes that weren't even really down ballot because he wasn't even on the ballot. He just backed shitty candidates. That's an interesting concession. Okay. This video date would have been 2023. October is the 9th month, 10th month. I hate months. I can't do it. 05. Ben Shapiro video on who wants to be Speaker of the House. That's not what Shapiro just said. Wait, what?
Damn slim. By the way, one of the reasons that it's so unbelievably slim as opposed to what it was supposed to be after the last election cycle, which was, you know, a 30-seat House majority for the Republicans. The reason for that is because Donald Trump backed a bunch of really bad candidates in purple districts and they lost. That is the reason. In fact,
wait, what are you saying, printer man? How are you saying that? Destiny, Ben didn't say it was because Trump was unpopular. He said the candidates Trump backed were unpopular. Wait, what? Are you retarded? The goal of your political leader, like the fucking president, is to pick candidates that can win. Why would you pick unpopular candidates? How are you? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna let you hold that much water for Trump. Fuck you. That's part of the whole rules of being like part of your party leader, right? That's like saying like, oh, they didn't lose because like Pelosi picked them. They were just unpopular. Well, Pelosi's the Speaker of the House. She's like picking people to fundraise and everything for it. No, shut up. He doesn't get to walk away from that. What an insanely crazy statement to make. File names can't include question mark. Seriously. Ben is not conceding that Trump backing the candidates made those candidates lose. He's saying that the candidates themselves were shit. Okay, hold on. I don't know if there's some weird revisionism happening here, but my understanding is people were explicitly and specifically mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump was explicitly picking candidates that people didn't think could win. But if Donald Trump backs a candidate, the Republican Party kind of has to fall in line. The Republican Party can't back a different candidate than your president backed. So I don't know where this is what I remember. If you have something different, feel free to throw the link in chat. But my recollection of the situation, it happened especially with people like, who was the lawyer guy that fucked the 14-year-old that everybody in, it wasn't Alabama, was it Roy Moore? That there were a lot of candidates like this that Donald Trump was picking and choosing that I think because Bannon was like pressuring him to choose them, that a bunch of Republican establishment people were like, hey, these are shitty candidates. Why the fuck are we backing these people? You're picking candidates that are losers. So I don't know where your shit is coming from. If you've got something different you want to link me, go for it. But this is wild revisionism, okay? Fuck you.
The reason for that is because Donald Trump backed a bunch of really bad candidates in
Donald Trump backed a bunch of really bad candidates in purple districts. Giving one strong reason why Trump is a bad leader. He has bad political instincts and is not effective at choosing good candidates for either his government, or his cabinet, nor candidates for other races.
Purple districts, and they lost. That is the reason. In fact, moderate Republicans won in New York if they were good candidates.
Should I I'll just at 450-ish. Will the debate be live or pre-recorded? I don't know. Ask Lex. Next time he's on YouTube chat.
Candidates. Florida, they did really well. A lot of the places in the country, they lost very tight races. in large part because they were very, very Trumpy, and they offended a lot of those swing voters for the same reason that Republicans did not win Senate seats in, say, Arizona, or in Georgia, or in Pennsylvania.
Big Trumpy candidates also cost Senate seats in, what did he say? Arizona, Florida.
Did a lot of those swing voters for the same reason that Republicans did not win Senate seats in, say, Arizona, or in Georgia, or in Pennsylvania.
Did he say Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania? Swing voters dislike Trump. This is technically, Ben is making arguments for a different Republican candidate rather than voting for Biden, but he galvanizes support on the other side.
So the problem is systemic, is the point that I'm making. And so to pretend that this is a principled act by Matt Gaetz and company to oust McCarthy, and that if we get someone better in there, that's going to fix all our problems. Now we'll get spending under control. Not true. It's not true. And if you believe that, then you're just going to keep getting suckered. There's a point made by Representative Claudia Tenney. She is a representative from New York. And again, she's from New York, which means she's vulnerable. Now, you may say, well, she's a rhino. How could she not want to lower spending? She does want to lower spending. She's also from New York. And here's the thing. You want a national majority, or do you prefer Hakeem Jeffries to be Speaker of the House? If you would like the Republicans to be in charge of Congress, you need people like Claudia Tenney in Congress. She's in a swing district. Here's Claudia Tenney.
God, if only there was some concession or something Democrats could have made to get Hakeem in. I don't think it was ever possible in any world, but oh my God.
We wouldn't have subpoenaed the documents. We wouldn't have had Jason Smith as chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, who opened a whistleblower portal. We would never have known what these whistleblowers brought forth under duress, under threat of their jobs. We would not know any of these things. None of this would have McCarthy hadn't been Speaker. And it's not about Kevin McCarthy. These people are going to hold hostage whoever the next Speaker is.
And that is right. That is right. So I would hope that whether it's Jim Jordan or Steve Scalise, whoever becomes the next Speaker of the House, the dictate is, I'm not going to even allow a motion to hit the floor unless a majority of the Republican caucus wants it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to have a motion to get rid of me as Speaker unless there's a large contingent, even if it's not a majority, a significant minority that doesn't want me to be here. I'm not going to do it for one vote. I'm going to do it for 4 votes. And that, by the way, should be the same thing offered by every Speaker of the House candidate. Now, the problem is you have a collective action problem there. So let's say Steve Scalise and Jordan decide that they're going to say, listen, neither of us is going to take the speakership position unless we claw back some of the powers that McCarthy gave to Gaetz and crew.
Then someone
all
else
it's going to take at that point is for someone to swing in from the right and say, no, I'll give you whatever you want. I'll give you whatever you want. And all it takes, again, is for Gaetz and crew to say, well, they're going to give us more power, so we'll go with them. The incentive systems here are completely misaligned. Even RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, who I think has done overall a pretty horrific job. And the reason I say that is because when you lose consistently election after election, 2018, 2020, 2021, 2022, I don't know how you maintain your job, but apparently this is the new way Republicans do things. The more you lose, the more we are loyal to you or something. In any case, here's Ronna Romney McDaniel talking about all of this.
You blame Matt Gaetz and the rebels on the conservative side. Should they have not taken this step in their...
I think that so something I'm going to try to do as I do this research is I'm going to try to identify like what is the big narrative that I can build towards. And I feel like when we look at these... When we look at all the things going on with Republicans, when we look at all the things going on with like leadership choices, I believe these are all downstream from the Trump governance, right? Like Gaetz was a very Trumpy candidate, was he not? I don't know as much about the individual candidates, but like Jim Jordan and Gaetz were both like pretty Trumpy supportive candidates, right? Like they supported like the election denialism and all the weird COVID shit and all these people, right? Weren't they pretty big candidates on this shit? So I feel like you can easily point. I know they're Trump candidates because my mom and dad love them both. If I really want to know who the big Trump candidates are, I really just have to ask them. And my mom and dad both love Gaetz and Jim Jordan, so I know they're both huge Trump fans. That's the only reason I know that. Okay, what are some broad political narratives I'd like to outline? 1. Ben Shapiro contributes to one-sided historical tellings of events, historical analysis. It ignores a lot of fact and, well, hold on. Well, I just need this. Contributes one-sided historical analysis. The Trump leadership's downstream effects can be seen across all of the Republican leadership. The House Speaker role, or the Speaker, the House fiasco is a great example of this. Okay. What else?
Frustration.
I'm going to be a happy warrior like Kevin McCarthy, and I'm going to say, let's just get the business of the American people done. Let's get the speaker vote done. Let's make sure we don't have this motion to vacate so we don't have chaos again. We can't do this next year. We cannot do this and win. If this happens again, we are jeopardizing a very small House majority.
Okay, and she's right about that. But the problem is all of these incentives have now been created. You're better off being the free radical than you are being the person who actually cares about the party achieving victories. And whether or not you like it, this was a pattern set by Donald Trump in 2016. He ran directly against the Republican Party. I understand that a lot of people who are very upset with the quote-unquote establishment Republican Party. I'm upset with them too. I think they spend too much money. I think they caved on social issues. I think a lot of the foreign policy is bad. However, this notion that you can simply buck the entire system and that this somehow benefits the entire system, I've yet to see that bear real results.
Oh, that's such a good and intelligent quote. This notion that running against the entire system, like Trump did, produces good results has not been borne out. This is true. This is very true. It's the failure of all populist leaders, and it is exactly what Donald Trump aims to repeat in the next election if he were to win.
What are the real results of that? Where are they? I'd like to see them. Victory is promised, so let's see some victories achieved. In a second, we'll get to the Democratic part in all of this, plus the blowback first. When you are running a business, your employees create all sorts of interesting situations. We've had to deal with many of them here at Daily Wire. Our employees' liabilities very often become our company liabilities, unless you have a really good HR department. This is why you need to talk to Bambi. Bambi gives you access to your own dedicated HR manager starting at just $99 per month. This person is available to you by phone, email, and real-time chat. They'll help you run employee onboarding, terminations, and performance reviews. With Bambi's HR autopilot feature, you can automate important HR practices like setting policies, employee training, and feedback procedures.
Wait, does Donald Trump hate McConnell yet? Has he started shit-talking him? Did I miss that? I feel like I remember hearing this, but it's...
All of Bambi's HR managers are based right here in the United States and can support the nuances across all 50 states. HR managers can easily cost $80 grand per year, but Bambi starts just $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today. See how much Bambi can take off your plate.
Donald Trump on Mitch McConnell. Fuck, I'm trying to remember what it was over. He's hated Mitch McConnell for years. Did he hate him in the Senate too? He might. For his candidate losing. This is on November 8th of 2023. Republican Kentucky gubernatorial candidate Daniel Cameron on Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Jeez. Who, and I'm pretty sure McConnell hasn't been leader in the Senate for as long as Pelosi was leader in the House, but isn't McConnell considered an incredibly effective Republican Senate leader in terms of his ability to obstruct Democrat Party? I mean, obviously you had the whole Merrick Garland stuff with the Supreme Court. I feel like, fuck, what was it? Didn't Frank Luntz say McConnell was his ideal, or he looked up to him more than any other Republican candidate or whatever? Jesus.
.com right now. Type Ben Shapiro under podcast when you sign up. It lets them know that we sent you. Helps us, helps them as well. Spelled BAMBEE.com, Bambi.com. Type in Ben Shapiro. You don't think about HR when you found a company, but the fact is you need it or it's going to destroy your company. So go check them out right now. Bambi.com. Type in Ben Shapiro. Okay, so McCarthy pointed out yesterday as he was leaving that Democrats had pledged that they would basically bail him out with the Matt Gaetz crew if they brought this motion to replace the speaker. He mentioned this yesterday.
After we had won the majority, I had become speaker list. And Nancy Pelosi came to me. She was speaker at the time on the way out. I told her I was having issues with getting enough votes. She said, what's the problem? I said, they want this one person can really out. She was the only speaker that changed that rule. I had the power to call the vote on her, but I never would. I lost some votes because of it. And she said, just give it to him. I'll always back you up. I made the same offer to Boehner and same thing to Paul, because I believe in the institution. I think today was a political decision by the Democrats. And I think the things they have...
Okay. Let's say that I take him at his word for everything. Let's say that I do take him at his word for everything. Bruv, how fucking retarded are you? This is like saying you go to a person, you're a Jew, okay? I'm trying to think of who hates Jews besides Nazis. Fuck, wait, we need another example. You're a, fuck, who's somebody that's hated by everybody? I need a person that's hated by everybody. I can't think of an example, okay? You're standing in a room, all right? And there's a sociopathic fucking murderer in front of you with an assault rifle. And then you give the riot shield to a friend that actually isn't a friend at all and also fucking hates you. And then you're like, listen, you're going to hold the riot shield here for as long as you can to protect me from that dude, right? And we're chill on that, right? Why would you ever... I'm trying to imagine, and I'm sure there must be a more politically shrewd reason that I can't think of, but why the fuck would you ever give so much power to the minority party in your fucking house to maintain your leadership? How unbelievably cocked is that you're listen up, Pelosi, okay, please please protect me from my party. If they try to fucking coup me, I'm gonna need you and the Dems to come out strong. Like, you must understand that when you're writing that check, you're giving her basically a blank check to make almost any demand possible on you, right? Also, Hakeem was the minority speaker, not Pelosi. Sure, but my guess is gonna be that Pelosi's probably runs the House more than whoever the fuck, even if there was another speaker, right? But I'm sure Hakeem might be the minority speaker, but I'm sure Pelosi is the one with the connections, the shrewdness, the history, the whip, the everything else that's been going on there, right? But like, I mean, you got to understand how unbelievably cucked you are, right? Like, if you turn your back on any demand that Pelosi or Hakeem or any of the Democratic establishment in the House ever makes, you're fucked. You're absolutely and completely and totally fucked. At Destiny, can you legitimately think of the alternatives? You saw how many votes it took to elect him? Yeah, but I mean, like, if you can't think of any alternatives, it kind of sounds like you're fucking up, bro. It kind of sounds like you guys have made, at some point in the journey to the 118th Congress, you guys took a very wrong turn. You took a wrong turn and you fucked up really hard if you've got to cut these types of deals to ensure that you even remain Speaker of the House, in my opinion. But maybe I'm missing something because I've been covering other stuff, obviously Red Pill, Israel, Palestine, more than this. But in my very limited understanding of how congressional politics work, if these are the types of deals that you're relying on with the minority party to keep your speaker role as a majority party, you fucked up hardcore somewhere. That's the feeling that I have. But
done in the past hurt the institution. They just started removing people from committee. They just started doing the other things. And my fear is
as a Finnish person, I must ask, how is it that USA can't find better candidates out of 332 million people than Trump or Biden? Also, I blame you for breaking my conservative bubble. The candidates that we have right now represent the American people really well right now. That's it, full stop. Americans will say they're mad, Americans say they're upset, but the reality is these are the candidates we have because this is the American population we have. Anything else is just a cope. What is this? Heartwarming story about babies and cats. Oh.
Sorry. Institution fell today.
Okay, he happens to be right about this. Now, is it a smart idea to place your trust in Nancy Pelosi? Of course, it's a very stupid idea.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ben. The destiny of the right, as people call him, of course. Yes, thank you. What a okay. I didn't know if I was missing something like really obvious, but yeah, this seems like an unbelievably fucking stupid thing to do.
And fell today.
Okay, he happens to be right about this. Now, is it a smart idea to place your trust in Nancy Pelosi? Of course, it's a very stupid idea to place your trust in Nancy Pelosi. And today, I'm seeing a loud hue and cry from the right side of the aisle that supports McCarthy, saying, well, why didn't the Democrats step in? The Democrats could have saved McCarthy. Because this entire vote, for all the talk about rhinos, it was 8 Republicans who voted along with all the Democrats to remove McCarthy. And yes, Nancy Pelosi could have carved off, 5 votes, and she could have saved McCarthy, and then the institution would have continued to move on as normal. But why would you trust Democrats to do that? Like, what in your record makes you think that Nancy Pelosi was ever going to bail you out? Well, the predictable result of this is that, again, more norms are broken. So there are certain norms in the House of Representatives that have just gone by the wayside, as McCarthy mentioned right there. One of them is that you don't remove members of the other party from their committees just because you don't like them.
Hold on. Let's see. He says it at 11:50. One norm of the House is that you don't remove members from committees just because you don't like them. Now I can believe this, but this could be fully my ignorance. Is the Speaker of the House considered a committee, or am I misunderstanding what he's saying there?
In your record makes you think that Nancy Pelosi was ever going to bail you out. Well, the predictable result of this is that, again, more norms are broken. So there are certain norms in the House of Representatives that have just gone by the wayside, as McCarthy mentioned right there. One of them is that you don't remove members of the other party from their committees just because you don't like them. You recall that they actually did this. The Democrats removed certain Republican members from their from their committees, even though they really did not have power to do so. And so Republicans have now threatened to do the same to Democrats, as they should. Like Eric Swalwell should not be on the Intel Committee, for example. Ilhan Omar should not be on the Foreign Affairs.
Wait. Hold on. Has he given any examples of Democrats doing this, or is he just talking about the speakership, or is this referring to something completely? He's talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Okay. Because, okay, this is a different thing. Okay. What happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Did she get removed from all committees? I'm trying to remember if that happened or not. I feel like it did, but okay. She loses her House Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from her committee assignments. The House of Representatives have voted to strip Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene from her committee assignments following uproar over past incendiary comments and apparent support of violence against Democrats. Thursday's vote was 230 to 189, with 11 Republicans joining. with 11 Republicans. Now, remember, okay, when we say 11 Republicans join, okay, there's probably a lot of discussion among the Republican lawmakers about who's going to vote. Don't misunderstand that 11 Republicans joining mean only 11 Republicans think she did something wrong. It's more so that, like, let's say there's 40 or 50 thinking she did something wrong. I doubt that all of them are going to want to take the political hit for voting against this, right? You're probably going to look bad. The fact that they got 11 Republicans in the House to join in on this, of stripping her of her committees, would I call it bipartisan, considering the vote was 230 to 199 with only 11 Republicans joining the Dems? I don't know if I'd call it... I don't know if I would call it bipartisan per se, but it's a pretty big deal that 11 Republicans joined on that. Vote comes a day after the House Rules Committee advanced a resolution put forth by Debbie Weiserman Schultz to remove Green from her assignments on the Budget Panel and the Education and Labor Committee. What was the particular support that MTG did? Hold on. No, you don't. Okay. MTG Marjorie Taylor Greene was not removed from her committees simply because Democrats did not like her. If that was the case, how many people would be like so many Republicans would be removed from committees? If that was the case, wouldn't there be numerous other Republicans removed from committees? No? Like, what? That just seems like a super baseless thing, right? MTG was removed from her committees. Okay, we need to find exactly what she said. Destiny will never be able to do this. 100% 14 seconds for South American countries. Bro, I already did 12. Fucking moron. Calling herself a very regular American, Greene said she stumbled across the far-right QAnon conspiracy at the end of 2017, but stopped believing in it a year later when she believed in QAnon for a whole year, and she admitted this publicly. But Greene has continued to spread false QAnon field theories since then, telling a local newspaper in 2020 she was concerned about a deep state. I was allowed to believe things that weren't true. I would ask questions about them and talk about them, and that is absolutely what I regret. If it weren't for the Facebook post and comments that I liked in 2018, I wouldn't be standing here today, and you couldn't point a finger and accuse me of anything wrong. See, you guys? The internet is real life. We had witnessed 9/11, the terrorist attacks in New York, and the plane that crashed into Pennsylvania, and the so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon, she said at the time. It's odd, there's never any evidence shown for a plane in the Pentagon, but anyways, I'm not going to dive into the 9/11 conspiracy. Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. We need to get all this.
In our country, in our politics, in our culture.
She supported 9/11 conspiracy theories. I could be wrong, but it seems like he's building on an argument that norms are being broken. Yeah, I understand, but like we've got a lot of norms. We got a lot of norms being broken on the Republican side as well, okay?
Yeah.
What is this?
David, why are you supporting the red flag laws? If Scott Peterson, the resource officer at Parkland, had done his job, then Nicholas Cruz wouldn't have killed anybody in your high school, or at least protected them. Why are you supporting red flag gun laws that attack our Second Amendment rights? And why are you using kids as a barrier? Do you not know how to defend your stance? Look, I'm an American citizen. I'm a gun owner. I have a concealed carry permit. I carry a gun for protection for myself, and you are using your lobby and the money behind it and the kids to try to take away my Second Amendment rights. You don't have anything to say for yourself? How'd you do that? How did you get major press coverage on this issue? And how did you get kids? Why do you use kids? Why kids? You know, if school zones were protected by...
Wait, wasn't he literally a kid? David Hogg, wasn't this guy literally a kid himself in a school shooting? What do you mean, why would you use kids? As a student survivor of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, killing 17 people. Wait, what do you mean? Why would you use kids? Wait, bro, how does this guy not actually beat... Actually, could he beat the shit out of her? MTG is a strong motherfucker, okay?
Security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at schools. Do you know that? The best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun. But yet you're attacking our Second Amendment. And you have nothing to say. No words. So I'm walking. He's got nothing to say. Sad. He has nothing to say because there really isn't anything to say, you guys. He has nothing to say because he's paid to do this. He has the walkaway march. He's got the women's march, and they're funding all of this. Everytown Gun USA, they're funding all this stuff, okay? That was David Hogue right there. David, we saw him inside the Senate building. He had 30 appointments where he ran around and got to talk to senators. I got to talk to none. He had media coverage all over the place. I had zero. Guess what? I'm a gun owner. I'm an American citizen. And I have nothing, but this guy with his George Soros funding and his major liberal funding has got everything. I want you to think about that. That's where we are. And he's a coward. He can't say one word because he can't defend his stance. Because there is no defense for taking away guns. There is no defense for gun confiscation. Zero. And so there he goes. He just keeps walking with his two ladies that probably work with him.
Maybe his handlers?
Maybe his handlers, absolutely.
His handlers.
Don't say anything. So that's the problem.
Parkland school shooting was a false flag planned event? Bro, she was like full on before she got into Congress. Holy shit. Wait, I need to see the post. It's called a payoff to keep his mouth shut since this is a false flag planned shooting. She believed the Jew laser memes too? What the fuck? Okay. Wait, no shot. Wait, no shot. Does she believe all these things? Wait, bro, hold on. This chick is actually... How did I miss it? She was this crazy. I've known that she was like pretty crazy, but I didn't actually read into all of the... What the fuck? Wait, what? Republicans, what are you doing? Oh no. Wait, what was this one? Okay, wait. Hold up.
We talking about cash backing. Not a game.
We talking about cash backing.
We talking about... We're not talking about practice? No. Cash backing.
Word. We talking about cash back. Cash back.
Cash backing. Cash back like a pro, but chase freedom unlimited. How do you cash back?
What more did you learn about the Congresswoman's views and comments?
So what we found was that Marjorie Greene in 2018 and 2019, and this is before she ran for Congress, she was a conservative commentator, posted on Facebook a lot. She repeatedly indicated that she supported executing Democratic members of Congress, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. There was a post in which, and this is really graphic stuff, somebody said a bullet to the head would be an easier way to remove Pelosi, and Greene liked that comment. She also repeatedly liked these comments about executing members of the FBI who she claimed were part of the deep state conspiracy. against President Trump. And sort of the backdrop to this was she was leading this petition to impeach Pelosi, saying she was guilty of treason, and she gave many speeches in support of this, and in many of those actually also suggested that Pelosi could be executed for treason. So there was just many of these comments.
And I think we just put on the screen, but did you get a response from the Congresswoman or anyone in her office?
So the interesting thing about her response was we asked for comment, and then almost like 2 hours before we posted the story, they sent out a tweet, and she didn't deny that she had made any of the comments or liked any of the posts, but she said, over the years, I've had many people manage my posts. Many posts have been liked, many have been shared. Some of them did not represent my views, especially the ones CNN is about to spread across the internet. So she was basically...
Bro, it was someone else on my account. It wasn't me.
Didn't deny liking them, but said, I might not have, and... Again, at the time, she was a conservative commentator. I think she...
Why do I have to answer for all the things that the other Destinies say on my stream? That wasn't me that said the genocide comment, right? And I'm sick of the rioting has to stop or whatever. That wasn't me. Those are the other Destinies on those days. It was Clara. True. That was Clara on my stream. What was she doing there?
Ran a CrossFit gym, so it would be a little strange if other people were running her pages.
I mean, I was just reading that response there. It said, that they're coming after me because essentially they're trying to have socialism in America, and she's standing up again. I'm a threat to their goal of socialism, she says. I mean, the story is about comments, things she actually did, or at least were on her Facebook page, in which she seems to be happy about the idea of shooting Nancy Pelosi in the head or executing members of Congress. That's what this is about.
There are now over 70 people confirmed dead and over 1,000 missing. The fires in Syria are a horrific tragedy. I'm praying for all involved. I'm posting this as speculation because there's too many coincidences to ignore, and just putting it out there for some research I've done stemming from my curiosity over PG&E stocks, which tanked all week, then rallied Thursday night after CEO officials honestly would not let PG and E fall. Find it very interesting that Roger Kimmel on the board of directors of PG&E is also vice chairman of Rothschild Inc., international investment banking firm. I also find it interesting the long history of financial contributions that PG&E has made to Jerry Brown. It must also be just a coincidence that the fires are burning in the same projected areas that the $77 billion high-speed rail project is to be built. Then oddly, there are all these people who have said that they saw what looked like lasers or blue beams of light causing the fires in pictures and videos. I don't know anything about that, but I do find it really curious that PG&E's partnership with Solarin on space solar generators started in 2009. They announced the launch into space in March of 2018, and maybe even put them up before that. Space... Bro, what are you guys doing? I'm sorry. What am I reading right now? This is not real life. Hold on. Did I miss a whole arc of... I don't want to call my mom. It's too sad. I can't talk to her now. Fuck. I know my mom loves this woman. She absolutely would. I bet she would. Destiny, no shot you didn't hear about this? Yeah, but no offense. Like, I'm just so skeptical of everything. I just assumed she liked a stupid tweet where the person on the tweet also published another tweet about space lasers or something. I didn't think that it was actually... I didn't know she was a full-on QAnon poster. She talked about space lasers causing fires in California. She mentioned Jewish space lasers. Okay. What committees was she stripped from? I'm curious. House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, Subcommittee on Government Operations and the Federal Workforce, Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, IT, and Government Innovation. Are these what she's on now, or are these what she got removed from? House Committee on Space Force and Lasers. I think Democrats also removed Paul Gozer, Republican 21, from committees. He was removed for making an anime video depicting him killing AOC.
It was the first time the U.S. House of Representatives censured one of its own in more than a
Wait, was he removed from committees, or was he just censured?
It was the first time the U.S. House of Representatives censured one of its own.
Oh, wait, this was the Attack on Titan video, right?
More than a decade. And as we reported, when it took that step today against Republican Representative Paul Gosar of Arizona, it was divided nearly along party lines. Lisa Desjardins has been following this all day, and she joins me now. So, Lisa, hello. Tell us more about what was in this video that he posted, and why did Democrats feel he should be censured?
This video was posted by Representative Gosar on his Twitter feed and other places, and it stayed up for 3 days. Now, I want to first explain to our viewers, we're not going to show this video. It does depict violence, but we do want people to understand what we're talking about. So we're going to show some images that help people.
No, hell no. We got to see the video. Attack on Titan Gosar video. Oh, no, boys. Representative Paul Gosar Attack on Titan ad. This is the whole thing? I don't want to click some stupid fucking meme, right? Is this actually the whole thing? It was it a full minute and 30 ad? Okay, why are you... I want to know which staffer had this idea, and he's like, let's fucking run with it. Like, I want to know all the people, because this would have been put together by people hired by White House staffers to make this fucking video. And at no point was somebody like, maybe having like anime characters flying around the screen with swords, you know, like beheading sitting members of Congress or attacking the president. Maybe that's not a good look right now, you know, coming off of, this would have been what, post January 6th, or... Like, did they censure him because this was super badass? What an unbelievably stupid video. Oh my god. To be clear on my note taking here, I'm not making the argument that they should have been kicked off of committees or censured for any of these things. I'm just saying that it's a little bit disingenuous to say, Marjorie Taylor Greene was kicked off because I don't like her. I feel like that's a tad reductive, but Jesus Christ. Okay.
Committee. I did. Okay, but the rule was you didn't do that. And then Democrats broke that rule, and now Republicans are going to break that rule in kind. Well, now Republicans are taking their revenge on the Democrats by evicting them from their hideaway offices. According to CBS News, two longtime Democratic leaders, Representatives Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer, have been evicted from their so-called hideaway offices in the Capitol in the aftermath of Kevin McCarthy's ouster as House Speaker. Pelosi confirmed on Tuesday night that Representative Patrick McHenry, the new Speaker pro tem, has ordered she immediately vacate my office in the Capitol. This eviction is a sharp departure from tradition, said Pelosi. Oh my God, like listening to Nancy Pelosi caterwaul about tradition is laughable. This lady who was kneeling in kente cloth in the halls of Congress. As Speaker, I gave former Speaker Hastert a significantly larger suite of offices for as long as you wished. Office space doesn't matter to me, but it seems to be important to them. Now that the new Republican leadership has settled this important matter, let's hope they get to work on what's truly important for the American people. Now again, the hideaway offices, they vary in size and location. Some are windowless rooms on the basement level. Others have high ceilings, chandeliers, big windows. The hideaway office of the late Senator Robert Byrd was a really, really nice office. It's not clear why they were tossed, but the evictions were probably in revenge by the Republican caucus for the Democrats basically allowing Gates to hold up the entire process. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for her part, she doesn't care about the institution of Congress. She tweeted out, does anyone believe for 1 minute McCarthy would help elect a Dem speaker, quote unquote, for the institution? McCarthy's hubris is a theme. He loudly stated he would not negotiate with Democrats, called virtually none, trash those who helped with the CR, and then expected Dem votes for free? Well, and then she continues, if McCarthy cared so much for the institution, he wouldn't have opened a baseless impeachment without a House vote. If he cared for the institution, he wouldn't have voted to overturn election results. He would have honored his debt limit deal with the president and all the rest. Okay, so, again, I understand hard-nosed politics, but what goes around comes around, and that's the way that it's going to be. I mean, this is the era in which we live. Any rule that...
Well, okay, hold on. You're not going to respond to AOC's tweet at all here about why McCarthy lost support from the Democrats? Are we just you're going to move past that? Did McCarthy deserve infinite support from the Democrats? Are there any people you're waiting to speak to until you finished your research on this? No, I just want to gather like all the Ben Shapiro opinions and like immerse myself in Benny Boy and do all that. I'm probably gonna be doing this for the next 10-ish days. I've got like a 3-day trip because well, not really, 2.5 days. I don't know. I'm going to Iowa to do an event, a college event. I think some of that's going to be streamed, hopefully. And then I come back and it's just going to be like, I think probably Ben Shapiro review until then.
Democrats' break is going to be met with equal and opposite fire by the Republicans. And frankly, I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. Democrats broke the tradition in terms of judicial nominees, suggesting that they could ram people through with a 51-vote majority, Mitch McConnell, and put 3 of Donald Trump's nominees on the Supreme Court with
I should truly get to the bottom of this. Democrats, I think this is like the nuclear option, right? Is what we're talking about. They could ram judicial nominees through with 51 votes.
He ended up being close with McCarthy and was upset when he got tossed. Jordan has some early endorsements from Darrell Issa of California, Thomas Massie of Kentucky, Jim Banks of Indiana, all of which are
okay. I think it's probably just going to be for the next like week and a half. It's just going to be going over like Ben Shapiro videos, Ben Shapiro articles, Ben Shapiro things on Trump and Biden. And then I'm going to go over all the major pieces of Biden legislation and we'll go through the results of all of that. And then obviously the Trump bullshit and blah, blah, blah. That's probably what our agenda is going to be for the next like week and a half. But okay, listen, I love you guys. It's been fun.